for the delay in getting started there. Something that had worked for me for the entire season decided to stop working tonight. So a fitting beginning
How apropos.
to this post game. XJ is here with me. What's going on, XJ? How are you?
I do not want to answer that question honestly, J Mac. I am here, is what I'll say.
Yeah. So I've been doing these since the end of the 2017-18 season. And I think for a lot of reasons, this might be the toughest one of these I've had to do. And the first reason for that is kind of simple, which is that sitting here right now after the game we just witnessed, it feels like the series is over and the Knicks are going home for the summer, and what has been a very enjoyable season, a very inspiring season, a very just a feel-good season since really the beginning of December has kind of come back down to earth with such a thud, and yet they're still alive. They have a home. They've potentially 2 home games remaining. Long way to go before we get to that. But so the series is not over. So I want to start. I do want to acknowledge that, and yet also acknowledge the feeling that I think everybody has right now, which is that after the game we just witnessed, for a variety of reasons, it does feel like the Knicks are dead men walking. And I want to give my overall thoughts on the game, and then I'll throw it to you, and I'll get your overall thoughts, and then we could go through some specifics. I think the other reason why this is such a difficult post game to do is because the way that game transpired. Let me actually take a step back. The reason this next season has been so great for so many of us, I know you included, and so enjoyable, is not.
So I'm not sure if I'm the only one who lost Jonathan. Is it okay?
So
it was so
we are having
Andrew.
some technical difficulties tonight, folks. We're about as effective as the Knicks when it comes to boxing out the Heat in the fourth quarter tonight, or double teaming Jimmy Butler when you shouldn't be double teaming Jimmy Butler. Where John just texted me, so we'll see what happened. Did you just lose me? Yes, we lost you. And now we're live. So John's gonna work on his technical issues. So where was he? Like, the reason that this felt so special?
I don't think he used the word special.
What did he say? I was in the midst of setting up my setup for tonight, and then okay, your thoughts on.
I was gonna say to John, I need his tutelage. Like, what's the approach on these post games, like after something soul crushing like that? Like, I feel like he was setting us up to manage our emotions, to recognize and realize that we have 3 more games to go potentially. It's not over. The series is not over. It's not summertime yet. It feels like summertime. It's 90 degrees over here in Florida. It feels like the summer. Yeah, it's not great. All intents and purposes, like, I don't know. I'll go back to unemotional data robot in a second, but like, I think, and Andrew, you expressed something kind of similar to this in our group thread. I think we were just made to feel how Cleveland fans felt. It's really tough to give a cogent analysis. Like, I was taking notes all game in preparation for the post game show until the fourth quarter, at which point I just kept writing the same thing over and over again. I felt like I was like in detention in the 1980s, just writing the same sentence on the blackboard over and over. And it was just,
you're Bart Simpson writing the thing on the chalkboard. Yeah.
It was, are you effing serious? Like, is this how we're going to go out? And it's only game 4. Yeah. We're not out yet, but it felt like the end of the series. And I don't think that's the direction that John was going in, but from my perspective, it was just like, you're going to get, we'll talk about the details, but spoiler alert, you're going to get out rebounded like 7-1 in the fourth quarter with essentially your series on the line. there are a lot of great positives to take away from the Knicks season. I just would you would have never been able to tell me at the beginning of the season we would be in the second round, and after that second round series feel like we're back to square one, to fire Tibbs, to trade Randle, to this is not working, to what is this team, to what is this ceiling, to make a star trade, get everyone out. I mean, like, back to the same narratives that we thought we would have been at if we won 35 games this season. Like, that's how bad this series feels. And I don't think Miami is this good. I hope they are this good. I hope Miami's legit. It's the same thing you said to me, AC, behind the scenes.
Yeah.
If they make it past New York, they better go to the finals, because nothing's going to make me feel better unless Miami is legit. And I don't think that they are. I don't think that they're this good. I think that the Knicks have made terrible plays all game. I think that they got crushed in the turnover battle. They got crushed in the offensive rebounds battle. They got crushed in the 3-point battle. It just, all these areas that they absolutely need to win in order to have a chance. They just soundly lost all these areas. It's like, and this is your season on the line. This is your season on the line. Guys that I believe in, Obi Toppin played terrible, played terrible. Quickly has been on offense a no-show, right? Up until this injury. Brunson's still fighting, but these guys are playing crazy minutes, and there's no way they can keep it up on both ends. Miami played sound basketball, but it's just demoralizing. It's just demoralizing. It's soul crushing. We can talk about the data and specifics of the game, but that's crazy. That's just how I'm feeling.
I feel similarly, but more importantly, John Macker's back. So maybe that's a sign of things to come, that we got our setup working, and potentially the Knicks can start to turn things around from here on out.
You can't write this shit today. Apologies again. I came in, the first thing I heard was demoralizing.
I said I know this is not the direction John was going in, but I'm gonna have to take the reins and spew my emotions out to the crowd.
I don't even know what direction I was going. I mean, I have a direction I was going in, and let me try to make sense of it, because what I was trying to say was that it was not just that the Knicks turned around their season this year. It was how they did it, and they did it by winning on the margins in every way. And that means a lot of different things. And you've talked about it. It's the possession game, low turnovers, offensive rebounds, and then kind of an extension of that is the free throws. But that's how they did it. And they overcame what was a perceived lack of talent. And then over the course of the season, we kind of came around to this idea that actually, you know what? Maybe our talent isn't as bad as we thought it was in the beginning. And the combination of those things coming into the playoffs, and then to kind of have your beliefs in the team, in those specific areas of the team, verified by the first round playoff series against a team that was perceived to be more talented than us, and to defeat that team in the ways that you have been winning basketball games throughout the first 82. Well, not the first 82, because they weren't this way out of the gate, but for the majority of the season, it was all coming together. Everything came together. And yes, you were facing a Heat team that had been here before, and yes, you were facing a Heat team that was going to have the coaching advantage, even if, I thought the coach did a good job in the first series. And yes, you were facing a Heat team that had the best player, but you felt like there was enough proof of concept after that Cleveland series that all the things you relied upon through 82 games, all the things that we thought were maybe going to come crashing down at some point during all of the little losing streaks and all of those tense moments, the handful of tense moments throughout the year where it's like, is this when it comes falling apart? Is this when it comes falling down? Is this when the jig is up? And then finally against Cleveland, is this when it finally comes crashing down? All of that stuff, you felt like they had proven concept enough. They would be able to go into this series and at least, I mean, again, I was not on board with the Knicks in 5 train, or the Knicks in 6 even. I was like, this is a 7-game series, going to be a hard-fought series, but just go out there, play your game. Maybe you come out with a win, and I thought we had a decent chance at that. You thought that was going to be possible. And tonight, in one game, showed why all of that stuff came crashing down. And like that, game 3 was such an easier game to analyze because they could make shots. I mean, they were 8 of 40 from 3. They shot 30 whatever percent from the field and 20% from 3. And there was this coaching decision that, seemed like it came to a head, and that was where a lot of people pinned the blame. Okay, fine. Move on. So how do they lose this game? They lose this game, to me, in 3 distinct ways, and each of them hurt differently. First half, a complete and total lack of poise. And if there's one thing the Knicks showed all season, specifically in their lack of turnovers, if you want to exemplify it in a stat, but really just the way they went about their business, they didn't beat themselves. Like so many Knicks teams of the past who, yes, they sucked something horrible, but in addition to sucking something horrible, they also beat themselves. This Knicks team did not beat themselves. First half, full of moments where the Knicks beat themselves. Second half gets started. Third quarter. This gets me to the second thing. Knicks were good. Knicks were really good on the offensive end. Making shots, finally coming to play in the way that we knew they were capable of coming to play. And they were just beat by better shot making against a team that had guys that were more up to the task. And that hurt in its own way because, all season long, I know me at least, I could never shake that little brother syndrome. I could never shake that feeling like, yeah, this is a great story. I love what we've done. Hashtag Eastern Conference Finals, dark horse, the whole thing. But we're not in that inner echelon. And to have us make so many shots finally in the third quarter, and then just to have Miami make every shot back every time we made one with some execution issues on the defensive end for sure, that hurt. And then that all brought us to the fourth quarter. And then I think this is what you were getting at when I re-entered here, which was just to have the thing that was yours, meaning the Knicks. It was the Knicks to possess and own and just lay claim to all season long. We will out-tough you. We will out-hustle you. We will get the extra rebound. We will do all of the things that you do not do, or not willing to do, or not capable of doing, whatever. We're going to do those things. And because we're able to do those things, because we're going to exert our will on you, we will beat you. And they had that turned right on its head against them. And I think for me, and we'll talk about specifics, and we can get into certain players, and like, yes, it's frustrating that this game felt like it was right there for the taking so many times. But when it comes down to it, when you put it all together, I do agree with the general sentiment, which is that the Knicks came into this series against a team that was a shot away from making the finals a year ago. They made the finals 2 years before that. They're the best coached team in the league. They have probably the co-playoff postseason MVP right now, second place to Devin Booker. And like, they have experience. And my God, has that experience shown through in their willingness to take tough shots and make tough shots, big shots in big moments, and just make no mistakes. I mean, how many mistakes have the Miami Heat made in this series? Forget tonight, in this series. They just don't do it. And the Knicks made a lot tonight in different ways, and they hurt in different ways, and we could go through them. But, like, they're not the better team right now. And it's just very clear, and that sucks. And it hurts, especially when it's the fucking Heat. And that is all I got. So I'm sorry that took longer than I wanted it to, especially with the technical difficulties. But XJ, what are your thoughts?
No, I think that was honestly very beautifully said. A wonderful yet unfortunate synopsis of honestly my experience, right? My experience has been, I've been that guy waiting for the house of cards to come crumbling down. Like, is this going to happen? Is this going to, is this sustainable? I'm all about sustainability, right? Is this sustainable? And we've been proven over and over again, wait, they're maintaining it. They got out of this little losing streak. They put it back together. It's still working. Okay. But when we get to the playoffs, we'll see. Against Cleveland, they played their game. They were dominant in their game, enforced their will. Wow. Okay. Proof of concept. This works. This is true. This is legit. We playing against Miami. You know, I, like some others, believe that we had more talent. It should work. I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed and hope that nothing's gonna fall apart. But I'm feeling more confident, and it just came crumbling down. And I think, to your point, John, I just want to talk a little bit about like the third quarter.
Yeah, it's the quarter that's gonna. I mean, look, we'll see what happens, but it feels like the quarter that's gonna define the season.
In this third quarter, the Knicks outscore the Knicks here as well. I'll say the Knicks went 11 for 12 from 2-point range. They shot 91% on twos in the third quarter.
Yeah.
2 for 5 from 3, 40% on threes.
Yep.
Overall shot 76% in the third quarter. 5 of 6 from the free throw line. Spent none of that time in the lead.
None.
Did not recapture a lead because Miami went blow for blow with them and held them off. Miami 7 of 9 from 2, 5 of 12 from 3, 5 of 7 from the free throw line. They were able to hold off the Knicks. And then we get to the fourth quarter. Again, the Knicks were scoring very well. And then the offensive rebounds. For the Knicks to lose a game in the fourth quarter with their season on the line, in the way that they demoralize other teams, in the way that they break the backs of other teams, in the way that I just said before you jump back on, John, I said, I feel like Miami just made us feel like how we made Cleveland feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
That sucks. I want to go apologize to Cleveland fans because I'm like, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good to get demoralized by just offensive rebound after offensive rebound. I'm watching Kyle Lowry track down long offensive rebounds on a possession, and it's just like, it's just going to keep going. It's just going to keep going. It hurts. Miami was 0 of 9 from 3 in the fourth quarter. They did not hit a 3-pointer in the fourth quarter.
It's painful.
Like, you're going to lose this game where Miami can't hit a 3 in the fourth quarter and they completely and soundly outplayed us. It's tough.
Yeah. And the other part of it, and this is what I was going to try to weave in, and I don't think I did, but I will try to say now, is the offensive rebounds. The Knicks came out after halftime. To me, I felt like the first half they were trying very hard, with the possible exception of Julius Randle, who we're going to get to. In the second half, I actually thought their effort level went up. I was proud of their effort. I was proud of the effort that they came out of halftime with. I did not feel like I was watching a team that was dogging it in any way. And even into the fourth quarter, and this is going to sound ridiculous, but I'm going to say it anyway because I have to go back and rewatch it, and I will, as painful as that's going to be. Even in the fourth quarter, I did not feel like the Knicks were a team that was, again, like dogging it in the traditional sense, but like Thibodeau always talks about long rebounds. Where are those rebounds going to go? They're going to be, they're like 3-point shots. Where are those rebounds going to go? They're going to be long rebounds. That's an execution issue. That's not an effort issue. Were there a couple of effort offensive rebounds that were given up? Absolutely. I without question. I'm seeing one in my mind where, but even the one that I'm seeing in my mind where Julius kind of just had his back to the ball as it caromed to like around the free throw line extended. Is that an effort thing, or is that just a player not having his head fully in the game and not being in tune to the moment? And this kind of bleeds into the Julius Randle of it all in this game because, look, the Knicks made mistakes. I've referenced the first half. I thought there was a lack of poise in the first half. There were some questionable decisions in terms of how they went about their offensive game plan. But for the turnovers, just silly turnovers, just stuff like the Grimes turnovers, like was the moment too big for him at first, whatever. But a lot of this game to me came down to one of our best players, or guy's supposed to be one of our best players. And look, I don't even know. I haven't even looked at the final stat line he finished with. I guarantee it's probably pretty good. Talking about Randle,
20 points on 13 shots.
Yeah, it was
a
really good end stat line. Yeah,
that's a wonderful end stat line. Watching that game. And he's not the only one who deserves to get pegged here. And there will be some praise doled out. Don't worry about that either. But I cannot escape. This was just like game 3 was in a way. This was in a way, it felt like a bit of a referendum on how reliable this player can be for you as a franchise moving forward. And that may be too soon to talk like that. That may be too big after just a couple of games, but it's how I'm feeling right now, XJ.
I felt the same way, and it's shocking that we had the same takeaway. Randle had the second best plus minus on the team. 20 points, 8 of 13 from the field, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, -1 in 39 minutes. I felt like he was a negative. I felt like there were just too many plays where he didn't have his head in the game, bad mistakes, bad decision making. Sometimes he bailed himself out with tough shot making.
He made some tough shots. Oh my God, did he make some tough shots?
He made tough shots, and I it's like, if it's too many times when I'm watching the game and I'm like, no, and he makes it, and it's just like, all right, I guess. Like, that's still not a good game. It's still not a good game. Situations where he's like in semi-transition and Knicks aren't even back, he's pulling a 3 against Bam. There's no chance for an offensive rebound. It's just small things like that. And then the way he closes out. His effort on closeouts is just either it's no effort or it's a lot of effort in the wrong direction and no second effort, right? It's one or the other. And it's just the decision-making, shot diet wasn't there. Still made tough shots, but I think it has an overarching impact on the team, on the dynamic.
It has to.
It has to. And it may not be, and this is why we don't really look at plus minus from game to game, because I think he was much worse than a -1. I just qualitatively watching the game, and
it's without question. And look, Jalen Brunson finished this game with 32 points and 11 assists, had 1 turnover, 32 points on, got to the free throw line 11 times, shot 10 of 21. Objectively, that is an incredible stat line. And yet, am I going to sit here and do I think this was one of like Jalen Brunson's very best games as a Knick? No, I don't. I thought he was the best player for the Knicks on the floor tonight. You could even, what did Jimmy finish with? Jimmy finished with 27 on 17 shots. He actually faltered a little bit down the stretch. But as far as just the two-way force that Jimmy is. So let's say Jalen Brunson was the best Knick on the floor tonight. Was this an outstanding game? Was this like a game you're going to remember like for decades and a loss? No, it wasn't that caliber game. Same thing for RJ. And RJ was excellent, I thought, overall on the offensive end, especially with 24 points on 16 shots. But defensively, there were some moments for him as well. Again, really, really, really good game. Those two guys led the way. We talked Randle making his shots. They combined for, do some quick math in the old noggin here, 76 points, which means 25 points were scored by other Knicks. Now, Quentin Grimes did come through with 3 threes. He was 3-7 from 3. Played 42 minutes. Clearly, Tibbs agreed with what people have been saying. We got to get the shooter on the floor. He got the shooter on the floor. Did it help? Yeah, I think it helped. But the mistakes were there. The mistakes were there too. Not that Josh Hart was great tonight either. That's the other thing. And this is really the other big story of this game. I mean, go down the list of Heat role players who just killed the Knicks with one big shot after another. You know, other than Brunson and Barrett, and you want to give Randle credit for the shots that he hit, for sure. Give Grimes credit for the threes that he hit. Who showed up tonight?
Yeah, and I wanted to, it's a great point because I wanted to say the same thing. Not only did we lose, we lost in all the ways we normally win, right? Turnover battle, offensive rebounding battle, the depth battle. How is Miami deeper than this Knicks team right now? But Miami, who is playing Highsmith, Duncan Robinson, Cody Martin is playing 26 minutes, Zeller, like this is their depth, and they soundly outplayed the Knicks as far as depth. This is a strength of this team that we've touted all season, no matter the highs or the lows. We've touted their depth, and they got crushed by Miami's depth. Duncan Robinson was 1 for 8, and I felt like he had a positive impact on the game with his spacing.
Because he frightens you so much, and he bends everything that the Knicks do, or any team does on defense. Like, you have to honor that guy, and like, you know, when you factor in the hustle plays that Miami's depth pieces made, and like, you know, it's tough because who are we really talking about here? Like, and that's the thing. It's like Josh Hart's had an outstanding postseason. Josh Hart did not have a good game tonight.
No.
I'm happy to give Josh Hart a pass. Because he's just done so much, and he's been so valuable to them throughout the Cleveland series and other games in this series. You know, and quickly was injured. I mean, Deuce probably played 4 minutes. I mean, I can't really draw any conclusions from that. And then who are you left with? You're left with Mitchell Robinson. You're left with Obi Toppin. I thought Hartenstein was okay. He only played 15 minutes. That was another thing. If there is going to be a critique of Thibodeau after this game, I would say it's the fact that Mitch played 33 and Hartenstein played 15. That's the closest thing that I would have to a critique of Thibodeau. That's me. Maybe I'm missing something obvious, but I was curious what your thoughts were on the center rotation.
I mean, I didn't think Hartenstein was particularly good tonight.
He wasn't great. He wasn't as good as he has been. That's for sure.
No, he wasn't as good as he has been. I was kind of okay with it. I mean, yeah, I could have done with more Hartenstein minutes, but to me, that wasn't going to make or break the game, in my opinion. I mean, I think we saw 44 minutes from Jalen. By the way, Andrew corrected me. It's Caleb Martin, Cody Zeller. I don't care about these guys. I don't care what
did you say? Are. Caleb Zeller?
I said I call him Cody Martin. He has a brother. I think that's his brother's name. It's really irrelevant to me. I know I'm the facts don't care about stats, don't care about your feelings. My feelings take precedent, Andrew, right now. So I don't care what his name is, whatever his name is. Yeah, I didn't feel the Hartenstein thing really made or break it. But Brunson played 44 minutes tonight.
Incredible.
And Benji said in our group thread, he called it. He said if Brunson can walk on that ankle, he's playing 45 tonight. Well, he played 44. He got damn close to it with no IQ. And you know, amazing tough it out performance, but it suffered on the defensive end. I have to say, Brunson was not very good defensely.
No, I mean, he's been targeted the whole series.
He's getting targeted. His closeouts are awful.
Yeah.
It's hard to take it out on him, given that he was the only offensive weapon keeping us in the game.
Yeah, I'm with you. I have a tough time taking it out on him as well. I mean, we've seen NBA defenses when an offensive player is good enough, and I think Jalen Brunson is good enough. An NBA defense will do what it has to scheme around, game plan around one really weak defender. I would argue that Jalen Brunson is worth the trouble to do that. And I would also very much argue that the Knicks are not currently doing that. And if you look at New York's defensive ratings with certainly their like quote unquote top three on the floor, Brunson, Randle, and Barrett, those defensive ratings are a fucking disaster. And they've been a disaster all year. And this is what we're not getting into the offseason stuff, but like, I guess the last thing I'll say, and then I'll throw it back to you for anything else that you want to say, and then we'll move on, is like the playoffs reveal who you are as a player and as a team. And I think this postseason has definitely revealed to New York that they have some keepers, some guys that are worthy of being around here long term. And perhaps the biggest, most important positive for the Knicks, for me in the playoffs, and again, this is me, who did not think very highly of this player coming into the playoffs, and he's not perfect, and I want to see a little bit more in terms of the little things and some of the hoops IQ and some of the occasional box out, but I think they have a player in RJ Barrett. I think they have a player in RJ Barrett, and I'm happy to say that. I'll get the crow out. He's down here, Crowan Barrett Jr. You know, and in this sense, this is where I'm happy to jump in and be like, he's only 22, because the good stuff that we're seeing in this postseason can't teach any of that stuff, and because he's only 22. It makes you that much more willing to live with some of the growing pains. As for and Brunson, obviously, keeper, Hart, love what we've seen from him. Even Grimes, I mean, in a way, I was kind of impressed. For as much as he made some silly errors, Grimes is a guy. I'm rolling with Grimes. Quickly, this wasn't his postseason. I'm not willing to throw the baby out with the bathwater, though. I think Quickly's going to be fine. So yeah, that's the only other thought that I wanted to share there.
Yeah, and I agree with you on RJ. I think that it's such an interesting thing where, you know, I don't think RJ got better. I think his decision making got better. There's Crowan.
There he is.
And if he could flip a switch with his decision making just like that, when it came down to it, we're in the playoffs, we need him now, make the right play, and he just has an ability to do it almost any time when he puts his mind to it. That is super promising for me, and I agree with the RJ take. I think my one big takeaway, in addition to the things that we've talked about, was just the Knicks' ability to focus and to make smart decisions when Miami was in transition. That was a big takeaway for me. Transition and semi-transition, I think they got roasted. To me, that was like their ability to focus and lock in. A lot of it was on Randle, honestly, and I want to go back and pick apart each of the plays that happened. But a ton of times, Miami's coming back in transition, and there's like a cross match, like Brunson's guarding the rim. And I'm convinced, you know, I'm obviously a big impact metric guy. The defensive impact metrics hate Jalen Brunson. I don't think his half court defense is that, I mean, it's not good, but it's like Trae Young level in terms of how the impact metrics see Brunson on defense. And I'm convinced it's because of the Knicks transition setup, where Brunson is always the guy back and always gives up the layup at the end. He's always the guy protecting the rim. He's the first guy back. You got guys like Butler attacking him in transition, even Max Strus, who just has too much size on him.
It's a ton of size. It's
just too much size. I understand the trying to hide Brunson somewhere, and you hide him on the shooter. Strus can shoot over Brunson. Just has too much size on him. And just, semi-transition, a guy's trailing, Randle's on the wrong guy, Robinson has to come out on Strus hits a three. That kind of stuff happened way too often. And to me, it's like that's indicative of the level of focus that they had coming into this game. And I don't think it was effort. Like you said, I don't think it was effort. I don't think the Knicks had low effort.
Even in the fourth, I really have to go back to that. I'll go back and rewatch it. I'm not going to come away from this game feeling like the Knicks didn't try really hard. I think they tried really hard.
Yeah.
No,
I agree with you.
But just on your point, because it's such a good one. What did you say? You called it a lack of focus.
A lack of focus. I wrote down on some of my notes, attention to details.
Okay. The ability to focus and the ability to pay attention to detail. Those are skills. And those are skills that you could possess and not possess. And they are also skills that you can get away with not possessing in the regular season. Oh boy, can you ever get away with not possessing them in the regular season. And that is why the playoffs are just, it's a different animal. And especially against a smart team like the Heat. And are the Heat the most talented team in the playoffs? God, no. Whoever comes out of the series, whether it's New York or Miami, they will be underdogs in the next round, regardless of who comes out of Boston, Philly. And they should be. I would argue that the two teams that are playing each other right now are probably, if I was to do a draft of all the teams remaining in the postseason, I would probably take the Knicks and the Heat last, 7th and 8th in some order. Sorry, but that's just
I agree with that.
How I feel. Yeah. And by the way, that's not to disrespect the Heat, because I've been Mr. Can we please respect the Heat? I don't think I even need to say that after this game. If anybody needs me to yell anymore about can we please respect the fucking Miami Heat, I don't know what you're watching.
I just want to say I might have been second number 2 to Mr. Respect the Heat, almost to the extent that I got roasted by our own KFS faculty because people said, wow, we're so lucky we're playing Miami instead of Milwaukee, and I said, yeah, that's true, but like so lucky feels extreme. Yeah, no. I would respect Miami. I would respect Jimmy Butler. I would respect Eric Spoelstra.
Never felt that way to me. And boy, do I have receipts to back that up. Anyway, I don't even remember the point that I was trying to make, but like, even so, with Miami not being, for as much as we both respect them, even with Miami not being up like an upper echelon team, and that's not to say, by the way, they can't win the next round if they get there. Against that team and this coach and these players, those things, lack of attention to detail, lack of focus, will destroy you. You will not be able to. And in some ways, it actually. It makes me wonder, like, would the Knicks have been, like, let's just say the matchups broke differently and they were facing, Philly in this round, or even, Boston. Talk about a team that has lollygagged away some games and in this postseason. Like, it almost makes me wonder if they wouldn't have been better off facing a clearly more talented team, but one where the edge in that department would not have been severe. And then just the last thing I'll say is, like, we're gassing on Miami and it feels like we're crapping on the Knicks. This is Miami's skill. This is their collective skill on the team as a team. And I get, 44-38. Okay, fine. This was not the team that existed for 82 games, the one that we're seeing right now. God bless them. They flipped a switch. And they are, I would argue, in all of these little nitty-gritty areas that we are talking about right now, who would you put ahead of them that's left in the playoffs? You would think the Warriors, but then you go and watch the Warriors kick the ball around for a game, here and there, like they've done several times this postseason. So I don't even know if I could say them.
In terms of focus and attention to detail,
all of that stuff,
to a game plan and execution, and Miami's number 1.
I think they have to be. And it's the reason they're in the position they're in, up 3-1 with a chance to go to the conference finals. And again, you have to give them credit for that, to poo-poo that, and to be like, whatever, we should still be up in this series. No, it's the playoffs. It's what you need enough talent. You need enough talent, which again, I will refer you to. Go watch the third quarter. Go watch, Jimmy Butler. Go watch Bam Adebayo. Go watch Kyle Lowry. Talk about, my God, the guy that he thought they were getting.
Kyle Lowry. God.
Waited until now. All right. Okay, we got through it. I didn't know if I was going to be able to get through that whole monologue, especially with technical issues. XJ, I'm going to let you go. Anything else before I do that?
No, nothing else. I think I got all my feelings out. I am going to go listen to the rest of this post game and hibernate and hide my face away. I always think to myself, honestly, it's like, how do John and Andrew always do this, no matter what kind of loss we come off of, no matter what kind of soul crushing, back breaking experience we get? these two come out and they Andrew, and they stick to this post game until the last super chat comes through the YouTube chat. I respect you guys so much for it. I mean, I'm gonna go cover my head with a hoodie in my own. I'm gonna hold my pillow and tuck myself in. So that's the last thing I wanted to say. You guys are awesome.
That's incredibly kind of you, XJ. Thank you for coming on for this. I'll say the wine helps. I got to give my shout out to the wine I'm drinking tonight. I'm drinking Firstborn Shiraz. I opened that because I was like, you know what? I might give my firstborn, who's sleeping right here on the couch next to me, for a win tonight. I love my daughter very much, but it is good wine. Firstborn Shiraz. So yeah, by Cambrian Rock. Okay. Yeah, XJ, you're the man, dude.
Thank you, guys.
Actually, before you go, can I just acknowledge how very right you were that it's after the fact, so it wasn't in the moment, but I have to give you your credit. Yeah, I wish you would have played Milwaukee. You were right.
Yes, but you're saying that I'm right because a loss versus Milwaukee would not have hurt this much.
It would have been an honor to lose to the eventual Eastern Conference champion Milwaukee Bucks. To Giannis, one of the greatest of all time.
One of the greats.
Smoke for Milwaukee. We look at the positive step we took. We won a playoff round and lost to the 1 seed. Fine. And now
I just want to say I like the win-win situation. I do not like being backs against the wall. If we lose, this is backbreaking. I'm not into it. So yeah, I agree with you. All right, guys, have a good
stuff,
show.
Man.
I'll see you guys later.
Okay. Personal injury report.
Sure.
Presented by our good friends at Weiss and Rosenblum. Don't forget, if you think you have a personal injury case, give Weiss and Rosenblum a call today at 212-366-6100. One more time, that is 212-366-6100. You could also visit them at weissandrosenblum.com for more information. I know Barry Weiss is hurting tonight. He was texting me earlier today. And I'll give him credit because I pushed back on him. He's like, we're going to need a big RJ game tonight. And I'm like, man, I don't know. I think if we win tonight, it's going to be Brunson, and Randle's going to have to do something. And it was Brunson and it was RJ. So shout out to Barry Weiss. Anyway, if you think you have a case, call them. Again, 212-366-6100. Consultations absolutely free. Give them a call. Let them know what happened. They'll tell you if you have a case or not. And then if they take your case, they don't get paid unless you do. Prior results don't guarantee future outcomes. But if you need a personal injury attorney, go with a veteran. Man, the Heat. Who's the player on the Heat with the least experience? I guess Haywood Highsmith, right? Is this his second year? He feels older, but like
I can look up the.
I'm actually very curious. Like, how old is Haywood Highsmith? Has he played any professional basketball leagues before coming to the NBA?
No. Is he a classic Heat? It's his second year of experience.
I knew that, but like, how old is he?
He is 26 years old.
There you go.
Is he an undrafted?
Oh, he's definitely good. You thought Haywood Highsmith was drafted?
This is a thing, John. I'm just looking it up. I'm sorry. Easy. I didn't know this. They pull these guys out of nowhere.
Indeed they do. No, yeah. So they got a lot. They're a team of veterans. Like they just
went to Wheeling Jesuit.
Okay,
that's the name of the college he went to. Yeah, that guy's out playing Obi Toppin in a playoff series right now.
But you know what? Like, I'm not gonna say anything about that. No, I'm not gonna say anything about that. Obi needs a little bit more seasoning. That's what I'll say about that.
He does.
Moment of the game. I have about 18
We didn't
moments.
even say that Emmanuel Quickly's hurt. Emmanuel Quickly is
the
personal injury report.
Emmanuel Quickly didn't play tonight.
If they were going back to the rotation that they went to, Emmanuel Quickly would have been part of that, would have probably helped, would have made Jalen Brunson not play 44 minutes. I don't think it was ever going to happen because Tibbs, I don't think, was going to Josh Hart at the 4, especially with Josh Hart in foul trouble. I thought there was like a world and a distant alternate universe where if Quickly was healthy, they could have went small. Just wouldn't have helped. It wouldn't have helped the rebounding.
Andrew, I don't think it was a distant universe. I think if Quickly's healthy for this game, Obi Toppin doesn't see the court.
Oh no, Obi Toppin not seeing the court is a different story. I'm saying that lineup of Josh Hart at the 4. like instead of Randle, because I'm with you on the frustrations of Julius Randle. I still think Randle plays 39 minutes though is the issue.
Well, because but again, this is we're getting into the offseason, which is like if Julius Randle's on your team and it's a playoff game and you need to, and like Julius Randle's playing 39 minutes. Now there are, God, there's so, I mean, and we didn't, one thing we didn't spend enough time on there is Mitch. Mitch had a really bad game. You want to talk about a lack of impact, my goodness. And this team moving forward, any team that has Mitchell Robinson, I'm not going to sit here and be like Mitchell Robinson can't be a starting center on a team that's capable of winning a championship. But if Mitchell Robinson is a starting center on a basketball team, that team needs to have a pivot to a small ball format in which they do not completely eviscerate any semblance of defense / rim protection, which this team right now, they don't have that option because I'm sorry, Julius Randle, Obi Toppin, that's not small ball that's going to work in the playoffs. And I love Isaiah Hartenstein. Isaiah Hartenstein is awesome, but he's a backup center. He's an excellent backup center. He's the best backup center in the NBA, I would argue. But that's not the pivot that's getting you where you need to go in a series like this and in a conference finals and in an NBA finals where having an offensive liability like Mitchell Robinson can really hurt you, and you're limited to playing a guy like that like 20 minutes a game. I don't know how I got off on this tangent on the personal injury report, but whatever.
Our pride is hurt. That's what.
Our pride is hurt.
Part on the injury report.
Now we could do moment of the game. As I was saying, I have about 18 different ones listed. Unfortunately, none of them were by the Knicks.
I think we have the same big one, though.
The big one for New York or for Miami?
No, the turning point, the moment I thought this game was over.
I thought the moment of the game, I think it was the Lowry offensive rebound.
Well, okay, that could be it. There's a rebound-a-thon that the Heat went on that reminded me a lot. Like, it's what I put in the faculty chat that because it's a Lowry
of
rebound.
The Cavs game.
Right.
Cavs game 5.
The end of the Cavs game, game 5, where it's like, oh, this is familiar, where the Heat got 4 shots on one specific possession. They didn't even score on the possession. It was 91-84 throughout the entire possession, but they got 3 offensive rebounds, got a foul on Brunson while they were at it. About a minute went off the clock. Minute and 6 seconds went off the clock. And during that stretch, it was just a reminder, oh, they're beating us to every 50-50 play on the game right now.
So do that. I would do the Lowry offensive rebound because I think that was the nail in the coffin.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought there was great irony in the fact that the one offensive rebound the Knicks got in the fourth quarter, Mitchell Robinson promptly
the Mitch turnover
dropped the ball.
Yes.
Did a player hit it? Did a Heat player hit that ball?
I think he just dropped it, which if a Heat player hits the ball, I think it's Knicks ball. But no, Mitch had a chance to put it up. Would have been 106-101. Would have been the fakest comeback of all time. But at least you're down 5. You got a minute 11 left. No, that was like the nail in the coffin. The moment I thought the game was over, though, was that, again, rebound-a-thon. It's when it happened for the Knicks against the Cavs, I was like, oh, wow, this series, that's a microcosm of the entire series right there. The other option that I had, John, and I don't know where I am at with this player, but the first play of the game, Julius gets an offensive foul on Bam Adebayo, and right then and there, I'm like, that's not the start you want, where you're fighting for position against you're not hunting a mismatch. You're trying to battle for position with Bam, and you throw an elbow at him. And listen, Randle had 6 turnovers tonight. 3 of them are offensive fouls.
Look,
so the fouls were part of it.
I'll get ahead of it now. We're not doing serious offseason talk tonight. It's just not the night
I don't
for
think
it.
There is either. There's gonna be a lot of
but
I'm done with Julius.
Hold on, I know, and I just want to say, and I said it before the last game, and I'm really gonna try to honor it. I'm gonna hear anything out tonight, within reason. Within reason, I'm gonna hear anything out tonight. Specifically with Randle, though, because I don't know how you're supposed to watch this game in light of everything, the whole history here, and feel like, okay, this is our guy. Don't worry, he's still our guy. We got this. And I said earlier this year, I'm like, he's our guy no matter what. I think I might have to go back on that, Andrew.
That's the opposite of what you just told everybody within reason to do.
I don't know how to feel about this game and his performance in this game and his performance in the series and his performance in these playoffs, in which he's had some games in which he's made some tough shots.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that,
I think there is let me just interrupt you because I'm at the same spot too with Julius. Not to the point where he's not our guy anymore. I am at the point where this is now multiple postseasons, and it's not even the because I like you said, 20 points on 13 shots is really good.
He was fine. I mean, he was really good on offense.
The tough shot making was almost, again, XJ said it, the no, yes shots that he was making in the first quarter. It was like, okay, well, if you're going to hit shots, I just need a little bit more effort. But that's the issue. The closeouts that were backbreaking, the clips that are going around the internet right now of this guy walking on defense to get in position, to not even bother guarding Kevin Love and Max Strus on these 3-pointers. Can I just read this quote because it's been bugging me since it went up.
The Cats one?
Well, the Cats one. There's the video went up from SNY earlier, but yes, Fred's got it. This is from Julius Randle after the game. Maybe they want it more. I don't know. That's who we've been all year, and we got to find ways to step up and make those plays if we want to keep this season alive. Dude, look at yourself in the mirror. Come on, man.
He's the lack of, I don't know that there has been a successful NBA team that has had any modicum of success. I'm talking about like conference finals, let alone finals or championship, where one of your leaders, one of your stars, and he's a star. That's the thing. He's a star player. Nothing I'm going to sit here and say tonight or this offseason changes the fact that he's a star player. I still think he's going to make another All-NBA team. I think he deserves it. He's a 2-time All-Star now. Like, he's a star. He's an NBA star player. He has star talent. Unbelievable star talent when he gets going. I don't know that you can succeed as a franchise if one of your players in that level of the totem pole lacks accountability to this degree. And what was so encouraging about this season, for as much as we may have questioned the not validity of it, but like how genuine it was, what was so nice were those couple of articles there that we saw pop up. It's like, I had to look myself in the mirror last year, and what kind of a teammate was I being, and this, that, and the other thing. And like Johnny Bryant, right? Johnny Bryant got to him, right? You know, give Johnny Bryant the head coaching job. He got through to Julius Randle. Well, I guess now we have to fire Johnny Bryant because Julius is doing this in the postseason. I'm being facetious, obviously.
I know.
But like, how do you step forward if there's this little? Now, maybe there's more accountability behind the scenes. It doesn't appear so on the court.
It appearing behind the scenes, like, yes, that maybe that's happening. Maybe he's getting wrung out in practices and film sessions. The problem is we're not surprised, are we? We've seen these poor closeouts for like 2 months now. We've seen like these lack of effort possessions, these games from him at many points in the season. And anytime that we saw it come up, we were like, he's playing every game. He's now NBA Iron Man. He's you got to give him a bit of a pass. He's made so many tough shots this season. And that was the way we rectified the effort when it wasn't there during the scenes. Like, listen, they're up by 20. Like, he's coasting through their second half of this game. Like, we'll live with it.
Now,
your season is on the line, and you're not playing balls to the wall. Jalen Brunson, for his I think it's an inability for him on defense because he's 6 feet and isn't exactly the quickest. But what he makes up for with effort on the offense is that guy played 44 minutes tonight and was the only thing keeping this team with a pulse in the fourth quarter. And I don't know if I could say that about Julius Randle, which sucks because I did a lot of defending him this season. I still maintain
so did I.
Like the Obi Hive, like you just don't have a leg to stand on. I'm not out on Obi. I'm not making this into
he'll be a fine NBA player somewhere.
Right, but the Julius part of it, now the Knicks are ready to start thinking about how many rounds of the playoffs we want to be a part of.
Exactly.
You then also have to ask that question of who's going to get you to those next rounds. And this is where the Julius conversation is. And we can talk about the big picture when the season's officially over of is he the guy that you go forward with? But as far as I'm concerned, this was shout out JD Sports Talk. Part of that 11-minute voice memo that everybody saw him send me was like, this is a Julius Randle legacy game. Well, guess what? This is unfortunately your legacy, dude.
The only asterisk I'll give is we don't know how healthy look, the ankle may be still a thing. It may be inhibiting him. And you can't even be like, well, if you're not healthy enough, don't play. The Knicks need him to play because they don't have anybody else. But
Jalen Brunson's dealing with a hip.
I was about to say,
wrist, ankle.
It's this time of year. It feels like everybody's banged up. And I'm not questioning Julius's toughness. What I am questioning is his ability to recognize and internalize how important it is to do all the little things that me and XJ talked about in the intro. Because it's especially glaring against this Heat team, and really in particular against Jimmy Butler, who just, for as talented as that guy is, and my God, is he talented, even though I would argue this is his worst game of the series from like a shot making perspective. When that dude, who's a star, who literally does every little thing, there's not a little thing that he doesn't do, and then you compare it to Julius, it makes it more glaring, is all. Anyway, okay.
And look, the actual rational thing to point out with Julius is like they're not in this game, like this point in the season.
Oh no, they're not.
Which is why like paper plate's gone. Like you rectified and validated the We Here season. I will leave any Julius Randle divorce with like, you know what, that Miami game in the regular season was nice. That 57-point game in the regular season was nice. There are several regular season memories with him. But as many people have pointed out, there are 82-game players. There are 16-game players.
Look, he is part of Knicks history. And it is a complicated legacy. I don't think he's going anywhere this summer, just to be very clear.
I don't tell you either.
Yeah, but like however long his legacy goes on, it will be complicated because it will have a lot of good and a lot of bad. And it's just, these are the games that frustrate you to no end. And game 3 and other games in these playoffs. Okay, get to
these are the two. We'll get to the super chats, but like these are the two though, because like we even said it in game 3 and 4 against the Cavs. Like, okay, he's clearly not 100%. He's not doing anything detrimental. And then in game 4, when he didn't have it, we had options to go to. Shout out Obi for showing up in that fourth quarter. Then in game 5, his best half in his playoff life, and then he got hurt again.
Well, he had a good stretch. I don't know if it was the best half of his playoff life.
But the not just the shot making, but the passing was why they were able to get up by double digits early. And then it became that second half was like, all right, who's going to make as many shots as possible? It turned out it was Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah.
Okay. So we only have 2 chats from before the game.
Thank the good Lord.
Hilarious. Because shout out, I feel bad for him at this point because his shirt came in the mail today.
I know.
Shout out Robert Cross. First one.
Hashtag 53 wins. It's Robert Cross.
They got to win on Wednesday, Robert. That's the only way we get to 53 wins.
Yeah.
And then this is right before they announce the starting 5.
Deadward 604. Everyone dumps on Julius rightfully, but no one's saying anything about Tibbs, who game planned for one guy as the rest of the Heat destroy us. Talk about outsmarting yourself and overthinking. I don't know how well this is aged. I mean, in terms of the Knicks' defensive game plan, I can't say I have too many issues with it.
You mentioned the Hartenstein minutes as the smoke you have for Tibbs. I don't have much for Tibbs. It's one stretch. It's like you talked about the third quarter being like the important quarter. I thought they needed to have one. I can't believe I'm saying this. One of Julius or Brunson on the floor at all times.
That's fair. That's
and that
fair.
stretch at the beginning of the second.
In the beginning of the second, they lost.
Jimmy and Bam were sitting, and I was like, you got to win these minutes as best as possible.
But at the same time, like, be better. Like,
right, but who was on the floor? Like, there was a stretch, like a good 2-minute stretch, where it was no RJ, no Brunson, no Randle.
Well, no. I correct me if I'm wrong. I think RJ was on the floor for that stretch.
It was I was staring right at it, and I did a legit like wipe my eyes, like wheelchair wipers. It was Deuce McBride, it was Quentin Grimes, it was Josh Hart, it was Obi Toppin, it was Mitchell Robinson. I couldn't believe it.
I want to go back because I don't think it's
quick.
As long as you're making it out, but you might be right.
It was quick. Don't get me. I said maybe a minute and a half, and then the next sub was both Randle and Brunson in the game. But those like 4 or 5 minutes, I was like, you could take the lead here if you keep one of Julius or Brunson on the floor. Just have them take advantage of some backups. You got especially if they're both going to play with RJ. But yeah, that stretch, I was like. Then Jimmy and Bam come back in, and you're wondering, okay, will we ever get the lead the rest of this game?
Grimes came in for RJ when it was 43-36. There was 6:57 left, and then Brunson came in. So it was 32 seconds.
32 seconds.
I knew I wasn't going crazy, and nobody scored in that 32 seconds.
John, 32 seconds is how long that's too many seconds. Listen, okay. Mountain, Molehill, whatever. I could not believe that lineup existed in the repertoire, is my point.
It was literally a possession for the remainder of the time that Brunson and Randle were both out of the game. RJ was in, Hart was in, McBride was in, and Obi was in. Like, that should not be a lay down and die lineup. Like it was, but no, that's fair too. Look,
it's those 4 minutes, the Deuce minutes where Brunson was out, and it was like, RJ, you run the show, and it was like, okay, I'd actually rather, if you're gonna take Brunson out, put Julius in for Obi, and now it's Julius and Randle run the show. But that's all I got for tips.
Yeah, but look, I get there's always going to be look, it's we've talked about this so many times. I don't want to talk about it again. There's always going to be temptation to blame the coach, because blaming the coach means you're not blaming the players. And when you're not blaming the players, you could still have that comfy, warm feeling under your pillow at night with like, okay, don't worry, we're still a good team. We're still a good team. Sometimes you're not the better team. And sometimes you're the team that does not deserve to win. And the Knicks are not the better team in this series. The Knicks do not deserve to win this series based on how they have played. That is the reality of the situation. Are they getting out coached? Yeah, they're getting out everything. You know, they're literally getting out everything. But
I go back to my experience with the pregame show. I'll see every fan base hates their coach. I go stroll through Golden State Warriors Twitter the other night. We've had enough Steve Kerr that I've seen. It's
Steve Kerr, Joe Mazzulla, Doc Rivers, Mike Budenholzer. Mike Malone might lose his job if the Nuggets don't get out of this series.
I'm not sure they're wrong about the Mazzulla stuff, but that's like neither here nor there.
But like, this is the NBA. You know, it's the NBA. All right.
Anyway, now we got during the game tweets. I'm gonna jump down.
Here we go. Thanks everybody for your patience. I know a lot of these came in an hour ago, probably more than an hour ago. So try to honor everybody's super chats, but also try to, move this along. Todd Rahulik, what's going on, Todd? Say what you want about this team, but at least they're giving it everything they have. Well, everyone but Randle, so tired of his low energy BS. Talk about a super chat that sums up a lot of this night. Thank you, Todd. Appreciate that. Richard, what's going on, Richard? Shout out to you again, one of our Ewing tier patrons, big time supporter of KFS for a long time. Appreciate you always chiming in here. Sad to say, but I feel tonight we are knocking on heaven's door. We are getting beat down. No two ways about it. Yes. Nope. Not much to add there. Thank you, Richard. Appreciate it. Now we got Dan Hidalgo. We got these back to back. This felt like a Knicks sighting. I know this isn't what you want to hear, but I think the Knicks deserve to go out playing with Knicks ball. May not have changed the outcome, but bad on Tibbs. Okay, what's bad on Tibbs? I don't know what is bad on Tibbs. Future is bright, though. A strong RJ in the playoffs is a great consolation prize. Let's go Knicks. I love what we've seen from RJ in the playoffs. I agree the future is bright. I also think that, for a team that is playing with house money and for a team that outkicked its coverage this year, who, by the way, season's not over yet, it's gonna be some dicey questions this summer. It's gonna be dicey, some tough ones. So yeah. Will Oliver, some say the Heat are still grabbing rebounds. Some would be right. Good call by you, Will. Tehran Below, what's going on, Tehran? Knicks fans told me to come back Monday and keep that same energy. # Heat in 5. I really do have nothing to push back on any Heat fan right now. Well, I have pushback on you as fans because I think I've said it before and I'll say it again. You're the most disgraceful fan base in professional sports. You've been gifted one of the absolutely very best organizations in professional sports and certainly in the NBA over more than 2 decades. And you treat it with the respect of, I don't even know what. I think it's disgraceful how Heat fans treat their franchise. The lack of respect, showing up to games on time, things of that nature. It's just, it's very sad. And that franchise deserves a better fan base.
And if you disagree, keep spending money to argue with John Macri right here on the post-game, Heat fans. In fact, really, really leave as long a chat as you want. You hear what he just said about you. Come on. You don't need to go to Live or Prime 112. That South Beach will be there tomorrow because, you guys are always, you were at South Beach in the midway through the third quarter, so it doesn't matter. But you know what to do, Heat fans. Let John know how you feel.
Please. Huzzoo. 2 sides of Mitch. The Heat planned very well how to get rid of his presence. He's such a dud on offense. He's rendered useless. Got us no boards, disappointed. It's been a really disappointing series for Mitch. He just has not been able to exert himself at all. I think, it's funny. Not funny. It's something. We heard the Cavs talk in the series, during the series, like, we didn't expect this. Like, we didn't know we were walking into this in terms of Mitchell Robinson and his physicality and his presence on both ends of the floor. So it is very clear that the Cavs did not game plan for Mitchell Robinson in a way that made any sort of material difference. I think it's very obvious that the Heat coming into the series knew full well we could talk about Jalen Brunson, we could talk about Julius Randle, we could talk about RJ Barrett. The Heat have switched up coverages on all 3 of those guys. They knew 2 things about the Knicks. One, they knew the Knicks survived and thrived based on offensive rebounds, and that they were going to do everything humanly possible to make sure they did not come up with those offensive rebounds. That's number 1. And number 2, they know what the Knicks want to do. They do not want to shoot threes. They want to go inside the arc, and they were going to say, all right, you know what? If we're losing this series because the Knicks go out and shoot 37 threes a game and make 38% of those threes a game, sayonara, we'll see you in Cancun. Been a good gamble by them, even though the Knicks certainly shot a little bit better from 3 in this game, and we'll see maybe a trend. And I say they shot a little bit better. They ended up shooting 9 of 28. They didn't even make 10 threes tonight. They shot 32%. Jesus. First time, long time, John. This is Robert Cross, by the way. I'm sorry I couldn't get it for you, Robert. My takeaway from the series is simple. Julius Randle has to be moved in the offseason. I'm done with him. # 53 wins. Well, look. That's half the equation. You want to get rid of Julius Randle, right? To say that it's quite a bit about what you're getting back and what the opportunity would be, to move on from him. I'm I don't think he's going to be moved. I don't even necessarily think it's imperative to move him this offseason. There's a part of me that, I mean, look, let's see how the rest of the series plays out. There's a part of me who may not even may not even think it is like imperative to move him, period, depending on what else you could do and kind of where that slots him in on the totem pole of this team. I understand why he's the target of frustration for a lot of people tonight. He's certainly the target of my frustration. It's just tough to rely on a player like that to such a significant degree. It's just tough. Hamdy M, what's going on, Hamdy? Yeah, GMAC is reminding me they were 1 of 8 from 3 in the fourth quarter. So the Knicks were pretty good coming into the fourth from 3, and then 1 of 8. But like, how many different? That's early in the fourth quarter, especially. Jalen Brunson had a 3 from the corner, missed. That was after the free throws. Grimes missed a wide open corner 3. I'm sure there's a couple other ones I'm forgetting that, like, you got to come through with that 3. That 3, which 1 3 to really to get it down to 1 or 2. I couldn't do it. Hamdy, what's going on, Hamdy? Hey, John, so many lost possessions. The opportunities are there. They are not ready yet. And yes, Miami gets credit. I find myself agreeing with basically everything you usually put in here, Hamdy, and I have no disagreement there once again. Frustrating as I pour myself another mouthful of wine. Thank goodness for wine. This is good wine, too. All right. Thanks, Hamdy. Appreciate you. Sam Garcia's dad. What's up, Ray? Self-inflicted wounds. Yep. Turnovers. Sloppy play. Stepping out of bounds after a rebound. Was that the... I'm trying to think about... Are you referring to the one where it was the over the backboard and neither like Grimes and RJ like watched it go out of bounds, or was it another one where they watched the ball go out of bounds? It's too many to count. The story started early and just kept going. Hashtag KFS rules. Knicks not so much. Well, I appreciate that. Let's check in real quick on the 3 categories that have been upholding this team all year. Free throws. Knicks actually got to the line tonight, and they actually shot pretty well. Like, they were 75% on 24 attempts. That's pretty good. So they checked that box. Offensive rebounds, big loss. They were out offensive rebounded 13-8, and they were out rebounded overall 44-35. And then turnovers, 17 turnovers, and the Heat scored 22 points off of those 17 turnovers. The Knicks, by contrast, generated 13 turnovers and scored 15 points off those turnovers. So if you take the points off of turnovers and you make them the same, it's a 1-point margin. And then I don't have the second chance points stat in front of me, but without question, if you flip the offensive rebounding number and you give the Knicks the 13 offensive rebounds and you give the Heat 8, I'm fairly certain that they're making up the deficit in this game as well. So it's like, if they would have just been able to do the things that they did all year, don't turn the ball over, get offensive rebounds, they win this game. And then when you throw in the poise stuff, which I know turnovers is kind of there as well. And then the shot making. 32% from 3. 9 3-pointers made. Add it all up. It's tough to overcome. Busy, what's going on, Busy? What's the point of having a big out there if we give up all those offensive rebounds? Oh, I know these are long rebounds. Who gets those? Guards. Who has more guards out there? The Heat. Why? Because they are playing small adjust Tibbs. So what did you want Tibbs to do? What did you want Tibbs to do? You want him to sit at center? No play with no center? Okay, good luck with that. Good luck playing defense with Julius Randle or Obi Toppin at the 5. Sit Julius Randle? Okay. That's an option. I think part of the reason why the Julius Randle conversation feels so imperative is because of this roster construction. If you're in a game like this, You're living by him and you're dying by him. And you're hoping for the best. That's what it is to have Julius Randle on your team and have him have this role on your team by necessity because of what else does, or more importantly, does not exist on your roster. So I don't really agree that that's an option. So then what else, what else did you want him to do? You want him to bench? I mean, who else did you want to put out? I'm genuinely perplexed. Who'd you want to put out there? I mean, I what do you want to see? Hart, RJ, Brunson, and Grimes? Was that taking you home? Maybe, I guess. I think this is a Julius Randle question. And I think it's tough to, especially when the guy is making shots, there does come a point where as a coach and as an organization, you're like, all right, this guy's on our team. If he's on our team and he's been in this role all year, well, you know what? We're going to rely on him. I understand there was an instance in the first round where Tibbs didn't, and it paid off. That was a different series where I think the player that they put in place of him, Obi Toppin, was much better equipped for that moment. But again, you're telling me Josh Hart, RJ Barrett, Jalen Brunson, Quentin Grimes, that was the way to go in this game for longer stretches? You might be right. I think that's a tough. I think that's a tough ask. That's a tough ask, but they lost, so everything's on the table. Ham DM, do you think Randle has the potential to be an impactful playoff player, or have we seen his ceiling? I mean, the potential. Yeah, I think he has the potential to be a impact playoff player. I do think that there is a ceiling to him on defense in the playoffs against a good offense, against a smart offense that makes the extra pass. Which again, that's where the NBA is going. Dribble pass, shoot. 5 guys on the court, all of whom who could do that. Like, the more guys you have on the court that could do that, the more you're going to be able to exploit a guy like Randle. Offensively, I think he was a little out of sorts in this game with some of the offensive fouls that the charges or whatever. He was fine on offense. I think he could be an impactful player on offense. It's the defense, and it's more just like the overall. Like, what are we signing up for tonight? What are we getting out of 40 minutes of Julius Randle tonight? And just the feeling like you're taking your life in your hands, and how stressful that must be as an organization, for a coaching staff, for his teammates. That's the part that I struggle with, and why I think, again, it's going to be a very interesting offseason for this team. Kevin Danishevsky saying the quiet part out loud. With the season pretty much over, I am ending moratorium on trade talk. Oh, not yet. Not yet, Kev. I can't believe I'm saying it, but RJ is now a must-keep, and you may need to trade Julius. So the funny thing about the Knicks this offseason, they could trade for a star player without including either of these guys. We've talked about it a little bit, but I'll just say it again. Evan Fournier, Derrick Rose, Mitch, depending on the player you're getting back. I mean, you have the salary. Like, even just Fournier, Rose, and Obi Toppin allows you to take back, I think, something like $43, $44, $45 million in salary. Just those 3 players, Fournier, Rose, Toppin. You have to pick up Rose's option, obviously. But so, like, it's not about the money, but it is about, and I may or may not have started writing in my top offseason questions article earlier today. That's how much faith I had coming into this game. I think one of them needs to be gone. Like, the evidence of these 2 guys on the court, it's been 4 years now. It just doesn't make sense, But I would sign with you. I'd much rather keep RJ at this point. Ham DM or Hushsu. No Hart, Our team wants to go on vacation. I can't co-sign with this at all. No heart. Our team wants to go on vacation. That's a bit much. It's pretty obvious. It was a fun season. We'll talk trades when this is all over. I think that's a bit of an overreaction. Hush. They wanted this game. They didn't get it, but they wanted it. JM, the vibes are embarrassing. Again, I think it's if you wanted to say you were embarrassed to be a Knicks fan on Saturday, I wouldn't have gone that far. Going back, rewatching some of that tape, were they out-hustled? Yes. Were they the more aggressive team? No. But even on Saturday, like, I wasn't embarrassed to be a Knicks fan on Saturday. And tonight, nothing close to that. Thanks, Jay. Hush Zoo. Don't care if I'm being ungrateful. Brunson Hart is clearly playoff ready. Build around them. Keep whoever. Time to go all in. I've seen enough with them. I mean, Brunson and Hart, I think, are two playoff players. Again, Hart didn't have a great game today. Hart's been up and maybe a little bit more up and down in the playoffs than we probably want to admit. I mean, he's had some dicey turnovers that have been like hurtful. All things considered, though, he's been great. I sign up Hart to his next contract. I love him. Make him a Knick for life. Jalen Brunson, needless to say, make him a Knick for life. I think there are other guys. I think there are other guys on this team who deserve to be here long term and are worth investing in long term and worth considering part of your core. I don't know that there's anyone on this team that I would consider untradeable. They won't move Jalen Brunson, obviously, but which is a gift and a curse. Flexibility is good. Thanks, Hush. Sam Garcia's dad, Ray, with another one. This team won as a team with everyone contributing at key times to wins. And they lost like a team with everyone contributing to this loss. Yeah. Pat Riley's still smarter than everyone. He always will be. Yeah, no one gets absolved in this one. Even Brunson, for all of his brilliance. And he was brilliant at times. But the depth of the team to disappear in such a significant way where Grimes, again, I know he made the 3 threes, but didn't. He had some bad missteps on defense. Like he had a blow-by or a flyby on a Kyle Lowry 3, I think, during the third quarter. That was not good. Him and RJ with the missed rebound, the early turnovers, like he wasn't really ready for this. Quickly before he got hurt, wasn't really ready for this. Didn't seem like it. Obi, not really ready for this. That's tough. Those are the three guys. Those are your 3 young guys, and this was but you hope that the valuable experience pays off. Will all 3 of those guys be back? I doubt it. But yeah, that's what you wanted. You wanted more from those guys. Tyler Spalding, first time J-Mac, but my God, 30, get aboard. Jeez. Welcome to this world of super chats, and I agree. Get a rebound, Julius. Hamdy N with another one. Got to read the game, trust the pass, spray the ball if you're open, shoot, etc. Yeah, I mean, I do think that they started to do that in the second half a little bit, but even then, the problem is nobody wanted to shoot. Nobody wanted to shoot. I mean, they took 32 threes in the game where the Heat were giving them everything. Any threes they wanted. Richard with another one. Thank you again, Richard. Appreciate your generosity. It's tough to lose must-win games, which is what happened tonight. But I'll go down again with the ship. Love you, KFS. Knicks forever. Again, Richard, I thank you so much for that. Look, it's tough right now. It's tough. It's really hard. You wanted this game. You wanted this game because 3-1 or 3-1. The writing's on the wall. And it's we'll see what they do on Wednesday night. We'll see. Jesse D, what's going on, Jesse? The bench minutes really killed us. Agreed. starters weren't perfect, but felt like they could have used a break in the second half where there was nowhere to turn to. That's the other part of the bench being so unproductive, not only in this game, but really in this series. The feeling like, you're Tom Thibodeau, and it's like, all right, you got, other than your two centers, you got 5 guys you can trust. Brunson, Randle, RJ, and then Hart and Grimes. It's tough. But again, that's where that's where the absence of, because Quickly would have gotten on the court there in the second half. And Quickly getting on the court, that allows you to spell Brunson for a bit. It allows you to spell RJ for a bit. And it probably even allows you to spell Randle for a little bit, because you figure you could have gone small there with Quickly on the floor. But no Quickly that, and again, I know Quickly hasn't had a good postseason, but I still think Tibbs would have trusted Quickly there to come in for, 10 minutes and in that 10 minutes, you could have gotten Brunson 3 minutes of rest. You could have gotten RJ 3 minutes of rest. You could have gotten Randle 3 minutes of rest. And instead, none of those guys were able to rest. I think that's where the loss of Quickly really, really hurt you. Dan Hidalgo, proud of the squad. Keep moving forward. I hope everybody's proud of the squad. That's why I like the embarrassing stuff. Is just like, I can't co-sign that. I get it's not the ending you want. And you know what? For 29 teams every year, like, very rarely is it the ending you want, very rarely is it the ending you want. I mean, occasionally, like, if you're a Magic fan, you're probably dancing into this offseason. The Thunder should probably feel great about themselves. But like any of the teams that lost in the first round of the playoffs or in the play-in, other than the Thunder, are any of those teams feeling good? Are any of the other teams that are going to lose in the second round, other than, again, if the Knicks lose, are any of those teams going to go into the offseason feeling great? Like, and the reason you should be proud of this Knicks squad, and again, their season is not over yet. The reason you should be proud of this squad is because they have come so far and they've done it with effort and doing all the right things. And I understand that all the right things that have gotten them to this point are suddenly seemingly vanishing. Again, give credit to the two reasons why we are seeing this. Playoff atmosphere, it's a different animal, and give credit to the opponent for being up to the challenge. Sam Garcia's dad, demoralizing. Yes. Yeah, definitely demoralizing. True statement. Over under 5 minutes into the game, Randle is booed in MSG. Oh, man, I hope not. Yeah, look, we're all frustrated with Randle right now. I don't want to hear any boos on Wednesday night. That would be such a rough way to end the year. I hope that's not the case. Charlie Boy third. What's going on, Charlie Boy? Hey, John. The lack of poise, execution, and effort tonight was disappointing. Again, I thought the effort was there. I really do want to go back and watch that fourth quarter. I want to go back and watch all the offensive rebounds and see, was it a lack of effort or was it just a lack of execution? Maybe it's semantics. It doesn't matter. Credit to the Heat, but everything starts with Julius Randle. Yep. It's so maddening when it looks like a player doesn't care as much as you do. Hashtag F the Heat. And here's the worst part. We're sitting here. We're watching this from Julius. And you start to ask yourself, oh, maybe something's going on in his personal life. Maybe the new baby isn't sleeping. Maybe someone looked at him the wrong way in the locker room. Maybe he took something the wrong way that somebody said about him or to him, because when you have a player that has, again, I'm not putting words in anybody's mouth, that has admitted openly to struggles and difficulties with the mental aspect of the game. When you have that player on your roster, it forces you, when he has games like this and series like this, to ask all of these sorts of questions about, what might it, and part of being a reliable tentpole player for an organization is that they can rely on you, and not have to worry about, oh, is this a bad week for Julius, or is this a bad day for Julius, or whatever. It really does. It just makes it very difficult. Like we talk I talk a lot about how, like, Zion Williamson, like, it was funny, talk about ironic. I sent in a text, or maybe I said it on one of these, but we were talking about it with my buddies Yash and Bernard about, like, would you trade Julius for Zion? And my point was like, hey, listen, Julius goes out there and plays every day. Zion, like, how do you game plan if you're a franchise? How do you game plan for a guy that, like, maybe he plays 60 games this year, maybe he plays 16 games this year? How do you deal with that? Well, what we're talking about here with Randle, it's a different version of that, because even though he is there physically for the games, whether he's there, mentally and emotionally in the way that you need him to be there to win high-level games against serious competition, that's almost like the Zion thing, in terms of from a dependability standpoint. It's tough. Ray Garcia with another one. Thank you again to Sam Garcia's dad. I have Sam Garcia's grandma wearing her RJ jersey and Sam Garcia's other grandma wearing a Meta World Peace jersey, and nothing helped. Well, yeah, I have a pair of lucky socks that I feel like I should have put on before tonight, but I didn't. I take full responsibility. Ian Livernoche, Macri, drink. Does the NBA have a referee problem, you think? Man, I will drink to that. Look, the refereeing is not why the Knicks lost this series. That said, like, I do think the Miami illegal screens have been pretty egregious. I do think they get away with a lot of shit. In addition to the illegal screens, didn't think the whistle was great tonight. You knew all this coming in. It's part of the game plan. It's not why they lost. Jessica, what's going on, Jessica? And shout out to Jessica. She was trying to pick up all of our spirits in the Zoom at halftime for all the newsletter subscribers, which I appreciated. I thought of you as they were trying to make a comeback there in the second half. Grab 2 at MSG and tie it up, or at least one, to avoid. Well, it's Game 5 at MSG, and then it goes back to Miami for Game 6. You got to give Robert his hashtag 53 wins. A rough watch, but hey, it's all house money. Let's go Knicks. It would be fitting to end the season with 53 wins. Now, that would have to come on Wednesday at MSG. I hope they get it. I'll say that. Haitian Ferg, what's going on, Haitian? How are you, my man? Name the coach that was available that would have done better. The answer is always blame the coach, but why are we so quick to blame him for everything when things go so wrong, and credit and no credit when things go right? Well, that's the nature of, it's the nature of sports, certainly the nature of the NBA. We don't have to do a whole Tibbs thing right now. I thought Tibbs did some nice things tonight. He made the adjustment everybody wanted to make. He showed the appropriate amount of desperation, I thought, in the second half. Like I said, like, maybe leave it. I probably would have pulled Mitch a little bit, but like the thing when you're talking about, like, give credit where credit, why does nobody give credit, and why is everybody so quick to blame? The reason we're all sitting here and we're shocked. Well, I'm not shocked, but some people are shocked by what we're seeing from the Knicks is because they have set such a high bar over the course of the year. And many factors go into that. The front office for assembling the roster, needless to say, the players themselves, but like the coach, plays a role in that too. And my point always, specifically when it comes to Thibodeau, is his, like, rigidity is the thing that gets under people's skin the most, which is kind of ironic because the thing that got under people's skin in this series was the fact that he went away from what was like this stable thing, and he actually tried something like different, and it didn't work. Whatever. The rigidity and the being a stickler for details and like being a kind of a stick in the mud, and the whole any pejorative thing you want to say about the way he goes about his business as an NBA head coach, all of that is part of why the culture is the way it is. Now, if you're that sort of coach, like Coach Budenholzer's that kind of coach, and Benji had a tweet after he was fired to this effect. It's like, when you also have to assess whether that coach that could instill the foundation can also take you to the promised land. I don't think we see the level of a lack of game planning, and the lack of adjustments from Tibbs that we see in some other coaches. Obviously, a lot of people would disagree with me on that. But yeah, in short, like if the Knicks lose the series in 5 or 6 games or whatever, there's not going to be a person out there, like an NBA media person or even like a beat writer for the Knicks, that is going to pin this on Tibbs. Frank Miranda, what's going on, Frank? What's up, Mac? It's your boy Frank from Patreon. I apologize for all the RJ slander. I thought it was RJ and Randle that couldn't coexist. It is Randle and Mitch that cannot. Someone has to go. Hashtag embarrassing. Man, again, it's like the hoops IQ. Why is Julius Randle trying so hard to shoehorn the ball into perhaps the least skilled offensive player? I forget about it on the Knicks roster. He's one of the 5 least offensive skilled players in the league, Mitchell Robinson. Like, why is Julius Randle bending? And some of those passes were beautiful. But, like, why are you bending over backwards instead of kicking it out to a 3-point shooter? That's what I mean about, like, the heat kind of got in the Knicks' heads, and specifically in Julius Randle's head. Like, that's not where your path to success lies, trying to get the ball down to Mitch down low, like in a crowd, because it's always going to be in a crowd. If it wasn't in a crowd, the passes wouldn't have been so difficult. Yeah, I don't know. The Knicks have some rejiggering with this roster to do. Wambler, I don't want to hear about the shooting. Okay. Sure. Yes, we need shooting, but defense, rebounding, and smarts lost us the game. Julius will never be a winning player on an elite team. Maybe you're right. Okay, yeah, look, needless to say, the lack of the ability to get a defensive rebound in the fourth quarter is what lost in the game. And the lack of poise, or smarts, as you put it. The smarts that you're referring to, I do think that there is a certain amount of, like, that comes with playoff experience. So I'm not too worried about that. Rebounding, like, this team has been an elite rebounding team that's not quite true. For a lot of the year, they've been a good defensive rebounding team. At times, they've been a really good defensive rebounding team. And certainly when it counts, they keep teams off the offensive glass. Tonight, they did not. It is why they lost this game. As far as defense goes, I want to look it up. In the playoffs, now take it with a grain of salt, whatever. I mean, the Knicks are neck and neck with the Cavs for the second best defense in the postseason. Lakers have the best defensive rating in the playoffs, 105.5. Cavs, 107.3. Knicks, 107.5. And then the next best team after that, by the way, is the Grizzlies at 110.0. So, like, they are neck and neck for second, and they're a mile above fourth. The Knicks have defended well enough to win this series. I'm sorry, but they have. I know it hasn't been perfect. I didn't think they lost this game because of defense tonight. Richie V. Feels like the second half that we will never forget. Yeah, this one's... I'm going to want to forget this. Yeah, I wonder how memorable the series is going to be long term. Or if it's going to be one that we just kind of throw in the old recesses of the brain. We'll see. Kevin Danishevsky with another one. About the game, you tip your cap. It is awesome to see Brunson and RJ end the year on a high note. Brunson kept us in it. RJ's been our second best playoff guy. And that's the thing. Like, again, a lot of silver linings coming in, or a lot of things to be excited about and be hopeful about and be encouraged and excited about coming into the playoffs and coming into the series. I think to exit this series, even if it goes the way it looks like it's going, where it's like, man, Brunson, RJ, okay, we could work with that. That's big. That's big. We'll see what happens this offseason. Sam Garcia, Julius Randle is not a 16-game player. I don't know that there's a ton of evidence to the contrary right now, Sam. Bulldog boxing promotions. What drives me the most nuts is we're getting outscored with Jimmy on the bench. -4 today, -10 in game 3. How do we lose those minutes? Because the Knicks are running partial bench units as well. And the Knicks depth hasn't come up big in the series. It just hasn't. Like, what was their strength for the entire season and what was largely a strength in the Cleveland series has not been a strength in this series. Josh, so focused. I hope you don't start by saying this is the last one. I was actually happy with their play today compared to the last one. Yeah, in a lot of ways, for sure. Miami hit shots long enough to keep us down and made us work in the end. This is when you tip your cap to Miami, not the hashtag last one. I mean, in the third quarter there, just the shot making from Miami's role players. You have to tip your cap. You just have to. Drew P. Second round experience for the core. I appreciate them. Okay, I like this comment too. This is good. I think there's a good amount of perspective in this post game. It's not what I was expecting. We'll see. Maybe we got more negativity coming. John, Jesus Christ, Schildkraut. I hope. No defense, no hustle, no leadership, awful turnovers. I have a hard time believing Randle could be a major piece on a contender. I think that's the overarching sentiment. I wish I had the ability to push back here because there is still a big part of me that feels very bad about how sour things turned last season, and I was the driving force behind a lot of that, and I will always feel bad about that because, as I've said, it became personal for me. I don't think this is personal though. This is just like we're seeing it. It is what it is, and it's tough. Manny, what's going on, Manny? Manny Campos. Series feels like a YMCA run where you keep getting beat by old dudes because they know exactly how to muck things up and frustrate you without getting caught. There's some of that. There's also a lot of skill on this Heat team, though. A lot of skill. Thank you, Manny. Greg Moran, Jalen Brunson deserves better. Yeah, I know. He really has been great. I mean, to look at the start that he's gotten off to in his playoff career, and it's kind of, now getting brushed aside, unfortunately, because of how the series is going. But, I mean, what else can you say? Ryan, what's going on, Ryan? I'm on to the bigger picture now. We have Jalen Brunson locked up for, actually, you got him locked up for 2 more years because he has a player option in that last year. I could pretty much guarantee he's not going to be opting into that, barring injury, which we hope is not the case. He's currently averaging 27 points per game in a playoff series where the Knicks can't score. Let's not forget. No, and thinking big picture, thinking long-term, thinking after this series and playoff run are over. I keep thinking back to something Jamal Crawford said during the Cavs series, and New York Basketball tweeted it out. I have it saved in my emails about. So people NBA players are looking at what Jalen Brunson is doing. He's the type of guy someone's going to want to come and play with. He's a guy. He's a guy is going to be there and make it count. Colin B, the Heat of the better team. How do we improve this offseason? Well, listen, we could be here all night talking about that. We'll talk about that when the time is right. I would not just run it back, though. I'll say that. True statement. If Quick is out, would you consider Fournier over Obi in the second unit? No. Bench desperately needs scoring. Thanks for hanging in there, J-Mac. Least I could do. No, I'm not going to Fournier right now. I'd cut it. I have no issue going with I have no issue giving Deuce some minutes. Thought that was fine. I just cut Obi out, and I'd go with 8 men. I'd go with Hardenstein, Deuce, and Josh Hart off the bench. From here on in, I'm not going to any of these guys that are out of the rotation. Luke Shamoon, what's going on, Luke? You don't have to shoot well to play well. Rang true all season. Well, Julius proved the inverse to be true as well tonight. Piss poor effort. That's a great fucking comment by you, Luke. You don't have to shoot well to play well, but you could sure play like shit, even though you do shoot well. That's a great job. Brian Less, what's going on, Brian? Rooting for the 90s Yankees, I saw them beat many teams in October who had more talent but less playoff metal. You can only beat grizzled vets by matching intensity and fundamentals. The Knicks aren't there yet. I hope, yet is the operative word there. And I believe that yet is the operative word there because I believe this team has a core. I know it's not the Heat's core or the core of some other teams around the league, but with Jalen Brunson, and hopefully RJ Barrett too. CJ Cervantes, what's going on, CJ? Julius Randle is not the guy. No heart, no hustle. Miami wanted it more tonight. Devastating loss. I can't get to devastating. I've been here for some devastating losses. I don't know that this was devastating. This is really tough for a lot of reasons and in a lot of ways. And it's like obviously disappointing that the season might be over. But I do think they showed heart. Oh, wait, you're referring to Randle. No heart, no hustle. That's the thing is like, we said a lot of shit about Julius Randle tonight. I fully believe that he wants it. I fully believe that he wants to win. I fully believe that he cares about winning. I think there's a lack of awareness. I think there's a lack of situational awareness. I think there's a lack of self-awareness. Yeah. Yeah. Rowan Sr., what's going on, Rowan? Hey, John, I love Tibbs. Spoelstra's better. Hey, man, you're not going to get an argument from me. I started saying it 2 nights ago. I'll say it again. I think he's the best coach. One of the 2 best coaches the NBA has seen since I've been watching the sport. It's Pop. It's Pop and him. As far as and Pop had Tim Duncan. And Pop would be the first person to tell you I had Tim Duncan. Not that Spo hasn't had some guys. Spo has had some guys. But Spo also took a team that was 11-31 or 11-30, I think, or 10-31, whatever they were. Now, granted, he got them to that point. He was the coach of the team that got to 10-31 in the first place. But that's still the most impressive thing I think any coach has ever done. To take a team that is in those depths and to turn around and flip that record on its head over the second half of the season. I still can't believe he did that whenever he did that. Anyway, I think that's what people are seeing, and they're processing it as bad Tibbs, or as Tibbs bad, Spo good, not zero sum. Yeah, like, again, look around, go through the list of coaches in the playoffs, who have won series in these playoffs. To say nothing of the coaches that have won championships in recent years that are out of a job. It's a tough profession, and get all the more credit because, like, and that's the thing is, like, you have the NBA, the way the sport is consumed now. You have such smart people out there. who could see the film like Benji and DJ for us, and there's a lot of other people out there, and are able to comment and analyze so insightfully. And so like it becomes so easy to criticize the coach. And that is why I give all the credit in the world to the people who have the ability to analyze and watch the film and point to like, okay, this thing is not making sense. Here's why it might not be making sense. Here are the other options that could go. And then in the same breath, also add that ever important context of I'm not like, we don't know everything that they know. We don't have access to all the information that they have access to. We are not, in us analyzing this piece of film, are not dealing with caveat XYZ that may be going on behind the scenes that we have no awareness of. And, God love the content creators out there who pour over the film and put the time into this stuff and put out blog posts and podcasts and what have you. I just wish there was a little bit more. We'll talk about awareness, self-awareness, awareness of, hey, yes, we see what we see on the film. It's obvious. Everybody, now it is obvious because you could go to any Twitter feed. So many people are doing a great job with this stuff. But at least to acknowledge, like, hey, there's probably some stuff going on here that we may not be privy to. And it probably adds some context because the odds are, because every fan base has these people out there who do this stuff. The odds are that like 26 or 27 head coaches in the NBA aren't idiots as people in their respective fan bases would paint them to be. The odds are that is not the case, that the people who have risen to the top of this profession suddenly forgot how to do their job. The odds are that is not the case. So let's all, again, when we do our homework and we put out these insightful film threads and so on and so forth, let's have a little bit of humility, and be careful with our verbiage and how we discuss this stuff. I will now get off my soapbox and go back to the super chats. Apologies, Andrew. That was probably about 2 minutes longer than he would have liked. Bulldog Boxing Promotions with another one. I don't want to hear about Tibbs being outcoached tonight. Played Grimes 40 minutes like how fans have begged. Great challenge that felt big in the moment. Agreed. Good challenge. Good challenge. Good coaching performance. Just got beat. David Crockett, what's going on? My buddy David. Always has something good to bring. Let's see what he has tonight. And thank you for the generous contribution, David. When you haven't done it before, it shows up as being a beat slow. Always talk about being a beat ahead of the game. You are the Miami Heat of the Super Chats, David. It's not about wanting it more. It's about knowing what, parentheses, not, close parentheses, to do. My buddy says old teams win in the NBA. Here's to better times. Thanks for a great season. Hashtag 53 wins. A, not over yet. B, I have nothing to add because who are the teams? Who were the teams in NBA history that didn't have to go through it? And you want to talk about the darlings, Cavs, darlings of this season with the net rating to prove it. Bye, first round. Memphis Grizzlies made it to the second round last year. Banged up a little bit this year. But you want to talk about darlings, executive of the year, coach of the, I don't think Taylor Jenkins has actually won, but I feel like he's been a finalist the last couple of years or the last 3 years, whatever it is. Darlings, process, finding unheralded guys, in the draft, Desmond Bain late and all of these draft finds late, and their mentality, grit, grind is back, but now with more pizzazz, out in the first round. Who they lose to? A team that won the championship a few years ago. That was just a little bit more poised, knew what to do in the big moments. When you could go on, Minnesota Timberwolves, they had it the whole season. Talk about talent. Not ready for it. Not ready for it. And go up and down. The Kings. How could I forget about the Kings? Kings were the only team all freaking season that didn't have a crisis point. it was all sunshine and rainbows for Sacramento this year. And what they do? They went out and they lost by 1,000,000 points at home in Game 7. It took Steph Curry to do that, but they didn't exactly come up big in that game. You got to go through it. You got to go through it. Knicks are going through it right now. It's part of the journey. It's part of the journey. Augie Rodriguez, the officiating was absolutely abysmal. I don't know if I'd go absolutely abysmal. It wasn't good. Bernard Richardson. Hey, Bernard. Could they have just not gone out said? They're not out yet. Was that too much to ask? I'm not even mad. I'm just so disappointed with what they've become. JK, definitely mad too. Okay. Again, this is one playoff series. It doesn't change who they are as a team. It doesn't change their core principles. It doesn't change their foundation. It is a playoff series that is its own entity. And while we can certainly extrapolate larger conclusions, the Randle stuff we've been talking about, maybe some of the Mitch stuff, because how players perform in this stage is valuable evidence in terms of, evaluating moving forward. It shouldn't, I wouldn't put it like that in terms of disappointed over what they've become. They are still who they are. They've been beaten back here. This is a hell of a Laker game, by the way. Talk about, again, trying to fend off going down 3-1. This is the freaking Warriors, defending champions, 4-time champions. They're, and then there's a Laker team, a 7 seed, same as the Heat. 1-point game right now. Anyway, Anthony Sixto, watching Celtics, Sixers, and Nuggets, Suns, then seeing how we have been mentally defeated, it proves what we already know. We need experience / a superstar. Just protect MSG. Well, I mean, look, you want to get down to brass tacks? Watching that Nuggets-Suns series, I'm not thinking about us being mentally defeated. I'm thinking about 3 of the best shot makers I've ever seen in my life. One of whom has won 2 MVPs, one of whom is one of the dozen greatest players of all time, and one of whom, Devin Booker, is really, really quickly etching his name in freaking stone amongst the all-time playoff legends with what he has done since this playoff began. That's why we need a superstar, is because at the end of the day, sometimes you just got to lean back and yeah. You need it. Young, this is 1 out of 2. This is why I was so upset the last game. You can't give away playoff games. I don't think they lost game 3 by 20. I don't think they gave it away. The reason players weren't playing hard in game 3 is because they were thinking too much. That's on Tom. Okay, maybe. I don't know. With 4 days off, he chose a poor starting lineup, and it showed from start to finish. This was an acceptable loss. Sometimes the ball doesn't bounce your way. Game 3 was completely unacceptable and probably cost us the series. Okay, I mean, they lost game 3 by 20 points, and they were 8 of 40 from 3. You don't put that on Tom Thibodeau, God bless you. I hope it helps you sleep at night. Equals peace. Prior to this game, Randle had the lowest playoff PER of any player, putting up 12 shots or more per game in NBA history. Time for him to go? Yeah, I'd say so. I hate PER. I think it's a kind of a stupid stat. But when you are last in anything amongst players putting up at least 12 shots per game, I think it's saying something. I don't think it's a stretch to say that Randle has been the worst star player in the playoffs this postseason. I don't think it's close, actually. Chris Carter, what's going on, Chris? We need to put out the bat signal for Scott Foster for Game 5. Listen, I'd like a Game 5 win. It'd be cool to just get it to 6. We'll see. Hope for the best. Duran, visual variant. What's going on, Duran? I knew Game 2 the Heat were the better team. Yeah, it's fair. I think we all kind of knew it, but you just kind of hoped that they would improve from there. And they did improve tonight, finally, on offense. Wasn't enough. Better coaching, better execution, better shot making. The better team always wins a 7-game series. Usually. Yeah. Unless it's too close to call, and sometimes it comes down to a shot or two. That said, still an amazingly fun season. Love being nervous watching basketball again. Yeah, this has been great. Even tonight. Tonight sucked, and this series has largely sucked, but, it's good to be back. It's good to be relevant. I'd rather be this than the alternative. I'd rather have this than have been for the last 3.5 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 10, 12 weeks, whatever, looking forward to freaking next Tuesday on my calendar, which is when the draft lottery is going to be. That's not fun. This is more fun. Kyle Turner, what's going on, Kyle? XJ, you're my guy, but it doesn't matter if the Heat are legit. They are better than the Knicks are, and the Knicks have some serious decisions to make about who are 16-game players. Yeah, I mean, and again, it's complicated, and this is why I don't want to turn this into an off-season discussion, because it is so multifaceted and so layered, because, no such thing as a one-sided trade. It's what are you sending out, but it's who are you getting back. And the Knicks are going to have to be very careful and cognizant about about what they do this summer, because I'll say this. I think this is the summer that will define them. This iteration of Knicks basketball. I know Jeremy. I love Jeremy. I disagree with him here on this, though. He thinks the big trade isn't coming for a year or 2 years. This summer. It's coming this summer. Greg Moran, what's going on, Greg? I've now entered trade Julius and 9 firsts for Mikal Bridges and see if Villanova can win Stage of Grief. So things are going well. Clearly, I love your comments, Greg. You always have good stuff to say, man. Yeah, Mikal would be fun on this team. That's a guy I think is a 16-game player. I have a lot of faith in that dude. ML Nair, what's going on, ML? Sadly, the season is all but over. My takeaway is that they have 3 Warriors, Brunson, RJ, and Hart. Yeah. And I feel bad that Quickly is kind of getting left by the wayside after the year that he had, but it's, and Grimes too. And again, it's like, those are the 2 guys that, like, I still have faith in Quickly and Grimes as being 16-game players. I don't think this postseason is at all dispositive of what they are capable of doing and what they could be. And let's give Hardenstein some love too. He's been really good. Josh so focused. Everyone relaxed. The Heat are the vet version of us. I'm relaxed, I think. I hope I'm relaxed. Trying to be relaxed. I'm watching the Austin Reeves show up here. Thank you, Ja. Bulldog Boxing Promotions with another one. 6 offensive rebounds allowed in a 5-minute stretch in the 4th with Hart on the bench. Coincidence? I think not. I know he had 5 fouls. Just saying, fans don't know more than Tibbs. So you're saying, well, I'm confused by that comment. Yeah, I mean, Hart. So if Hart's in the game there, he's in for RJ or Grimes or Randle. And I think that's what Busy was keying in on before. Do you sit Randle there? I'll say this. I mean, like, as will shock nobody. But when Randle fouled out, I'm like, holy shit, do we have a chance now in this game? How sad is that? Equals Peace with another one. Thank you again, Equals Peace. Appreciate the generous contributions. Also, prior to this game, Randle's 32% field goal percentage was the worst of any player. This stat I knew, taking over 15 field goal attempts per game since the start of the shot clock era in 1970 and the NBA-ABA playoff merger. by Julius. So 32 field goal percentage of worst of over 15 field goal attempts a game in the playoffs. Yeah, it's not great right now. Are there other guys who have had really rough starts to their playoff career with a sample size as large as Julius? On this much volume? I'm sure there are. I'm not sure I care to look them up. Oh, boy. Jordan Miller, what's going on, Jordan? Normally a Tibbs defender, but is it fair to say they are doubling Butler way too early, too much? Feels like it's leading to all the open threes. Again, those threes that came in the third quarter, I thought the majority of them were well defended. Is there too much respect being paid for Jimmy Butler in this series? I think that's very fair. The tough part, and I don't disagree with you. I think that's an extraordinarily fair criticism. And one that I'll push back on what I said before is like, I don't know how much else you need to know. Like, it's clear what they're doing. It's all on the tape in front of us. It's like they've made a decision. We're going to kind of sort of sell out, make sure Jimmy doesn't beat us. Jimmy's such a good passer. Should that make you want to key in on him even more or less? Because if you're keying in on him more and he's such a good passer, then as he's done a lot of, he's going to be able to get the ball out of those double teams, or maybe not straight double teams, but like where you're focusing the extra attention into someone else's hands. Now, it's on that player to make a tough shot or make the next pass, because most of the time, and this is what I give the Knicks credit for in the third quarter, like it wasn't the first rotation that, like, they got the first rotation, and sometimes even the second rotation. It was like the third rotation that was late, or the fourth rotation that was late, and like this is tough shit. And this is what happens when you key in on a player like you keying in on Jimmy Butler. So, the alternative is to just let him have at it. But then, again, going back to the point that I was just trying to make, he's such a good passer that even if you are guarding him one-on-one, like, it's not just that you're daring him to beat you with the shots, you're also daring him to beat you with the pass. He's just a really freaking difficult player to play against. I don't know what else to say. But that's a fair criticism, I think. Alex, what's going on, Alex? Hello from the land of enchantment. I'm here to provide an optimistic spin. That sucked. Sorry, I failed you. Like the Knicks failed us. Well, I hate putting it like that. They didn't fail us. They gave us so much this year to love and be proud of and be thankful for. Series hasn't gone our way, but D-Zilla, what's going on, D? Remember the guy with the paper plate on his face? That guy, he's the salary filler. No, not Crowan. Not Crowan. Weak-minded, definitely a lack of poise, and it starts with redacted. It's brackets around redacted, D-Zilla, not parentheses. Yeah, rough. CJ Cervantes with the positive spin. Knicks in 7. How you doing? Listen, it's not that insane. It's not that insane. Maybe it's a little insane. Dom Cappuccini, what's going on, Dom? Great to hear from you. I love our Knicks. I was nervous about Miami prior to the matchup, but I felt comfortable enough to take the series. I now have tremendous amount of respect for the Heat, cold-blooded execution. I hope at the very least everybody, if nothing else, has respect for the Heat after this series. Down with another one. Find a way to get back to Miami. Nothing to lose. I think they'll come out and play like they're going to play their asses off on Wednesday. And I wouldn't be shocked if they won it all. In fact, I'm kind of expecting them to win on Wednesday, actually. I'd be a little surprised if they didn't win and take it down to Miami for a Game 6. And then, look, like we were all sitting here before Game 5 in New York with the mentality of like, or no, sorry, the Game 5 in Cleveland, right? Where it's like, shit, you better get this game, because otherwise, if you don't get this game, then all the pressure in the world is on you to win at home in Game 6. And then if you lose that, then you're going to a Game 7 in their building. So, like, yeah, get it to a Game 6. Jihad Brown. Officiating was suspect. Fair. Not to put it solely on Randle, but it must be known knowledge for Heat players to go at Randle because he isn't going to close out hard or get in lanes to contest. This is playoff basketball. It's on all the scouting reports. And it's not only that, like, I'm sure other teams that have played the Knicks this year, I would guess, I don't know this for a fact, obviously, but I would guess, like, let's get Julius Randle involved in rotation or make him be the guy to close out on our shooters. But there's just a different level of preparation that comes with a playoff series. And when you have a team that prepares really well, you know, you get this. Thanks, Jihad. I appreciate that. Jesse M. What's going on, Jesse? Knowing the organization is not going to or can't trade Julius, plus, I'm not so sure about that. I've never been sure about that. Might be true. Might be true. I'm not sure about it, though. Plus, us having to suffer through him for the next 3 years is probably the most frustrating about this. All this for me. I'm sorry, I couldn't care less about the 25, 11, and 4. No, look, if you're done with Randle after a game like tonight, I'm not blaming anybody for being done with Randle after a game like tonight. Larry Robinson. What's going on, Larry? Do you believe in miracles? I don't know if I do. I'm excited to see who wants to be a part of this team going forward. Big change is coming if we fold on Wednesday. Go New York Knicks. I think there's changes coming regardless. I don't think they'll fold, though. Thanks, Larry. Appreciate you.
Hold on, I'm scrolling. And don't say anything about the Laker game.
I'm watching the Laker game.
I know you are, but you do the thing where you say the thing that I see 8 minutes later.
That's on you, buddy.
No, I'm in a studio, sir. You're the one watching the live feed. Okay. I have to watch it on the delay.
Gotta upgrade your shit there. Sean,
we're gonna talk. Really? Look at the glass house you now live in, sir.
It's not even a glass house. It's like saran wrap.
Quite literally, yes. Like a greenhouse is what you live in at the moment, and everything is just a rock that you just throw. Okay, past the rock, yes, past the rock.
Sean Kearns, Julius Randle's a good player with a sore loser mentality. I question his mentality in general, that's for sure. Thanks, Sean. Appreciate you. Dean Price, what's going on, Dean? I want to be positive. Good. I underestimated the collective experience of the Heat and in their totality. I really love these young Knicks. It's worth the wait. I love that comment. I really do appreciate. I want to say this really loud and clear because, like, there's been a lot of comments after game 2 a little bit, but really after game 3 that was like just really made it not very fun to be up here doing this, if I'm just being honest. This is a team to be positive about. And this is a team to, whether you want to place a lot more, more blame on the Knicks and less credit to Miami, it's neither here nor there. It's okay to still love this team and appreciate this team and be proud of this team, even as we are in the midst of this sort of series. Even with giving up 6 freaking offensive rebounds in the fourth quarter, it's okay to be proud of this team. And I am proud of this team, and I'm glad to hear some other people are as well. So thank you, Dean. I really appreciate that comment. And a lot of the comments tonight and the all of that. Juanon, what's going on, Juanon? We cater too much to what we do to a player who is volatile. As you said, John, the postseason shows who you are. And we are a team whose second best player isn't mentally built for the games in May. Thank God for weed. Hashtag stressed. Oh, man. I don't partake. My vice. Man, half a bottle of this stuff. Again, I got to give it. It's really going down easy. Firstborn Shiraz. What's this? Heathcote? necessary tonight. Elton Chung. What's going on, Elton? At the end of the day, we are in the beginning, and we have many more years to come over with a young core. Yes. Keep heads up, boys. Maybe Knicks in 7. Let's go Knicks. I needed these. I needed these positive chats. I really did. Thank you guys for these. Seriously, thank you. Mike Charles, can you go into another playoff run with Julius Randle and Tom Thibodeau? Well, look, you know how I feel about Tibbs. I think he is more part of the solution than the problem. Well, at the same time, I'll honor, people who are like, can he take you all the way to a championship? And at the same time, it's like, okay, look, we've talked about Randle enough. That's why I'm focusing on the Tibbs part of this. I think it's like, okay, who are the coaches in the league that you feel really, really good about being able to take you the whole way, the 16 games, right? Because they're, again, if you're just looking for evidence of people who have done it, 3 of them have gotten fired. Doc's done it. I'm not sure that there is a fan base in professional sports right now that has a more of a love-hate relationship, mostly on the hate, than the Philadelphia 76ers fans do with Doc Rivers. And you could go on and on. It's like, yeah, Kerr could do it. Spo could do it. Okay, that's 2. Pretty sure Pop could do it. Okay. Who else do you really have like all the confidence in the world in? I don't know. Monty Williams? Took him 4 games to put all of Phoenix's shooters on the floor and try to actually win that series with offense. That was an adjustment that was 3 games in the making. Go on and on down the list. Red Sarachek. I have a dumb question. Why not just try a zone if you can't play half-decent man? Again, defense is not the reason that they are down 3-1 in the series. They've defended well enough to win the series. They cannot score. They've not scored at a good enough rate, and they did not come up with any of the loose balls in this game. That's not defense. That's a different category. And also, they don't practice zone. So to try to do zone after you haven't practiced zone all year is like asking a bit much. Hard to see our stars not even jumping for balls. Take game 5 at the Garden, pretend it's a play-in tournament, fight. Yep, that's fair. Thanks, Red. Appreciate you and appreciate your comments and contributions all year. The Real Tarun, thank you so much. Wow, the most generous contribution of the night. Appreciate you so much. Thank you. I have gotten too much utility from you guys not to send this along. Much love. Man, I just get on here and it's my therapist couch, and y'all are the people with the notepad. Everybody thinks it's the other way around. It's not. So I should be paying you. Hayden Freed, # we back. When do we trade Julius? Days are here. Yeah, sad but true. Sean with a W. What's going on, Sean? What got us here won't get us there. Well said. Well said. Jibo, lost games 1 and 4 because of the hustle points. Good job or good game, RJ. Yep. Jack Weitzman. I remember thinking if we lost game 5 to the Cavs, it was going to be very tough for us to win the series. There you go. Oh, it happens once a post game. Something I say, and then there's a super chat reflecting it. Why not us this time? The refs suck tonight. Let's go Knicks. Go get game 5. Seriously, go get game 5. Go get game 5. RJ team, good night for you. Julius is an all-time generational playoff stinker. I completely lost it when Randle allowed Love to casually shoot that 3 off the pick and roll. There were more than that, more times than that where I lost my shit on Julius tonight. I'll just say that. Dominic Manzi. The season was a massive success. We have at least one more game left to enjoy. Cat has never felt more inevitable. I don't hate the idea tonight. Man, I'm not at the Cat stage of grief yet. I don't know what stage that is. I'm not there yet. I don't think I ever want to get there. Thanks, Dominic. Robert Cross.
Don't say anything. I'm watching it live.
Am I allowed to pause?
You can pause it. Hold on. We're both watching.
Could we put Robert Cross's comment on like
it's on ice.
the side for half a sec?
Right. What question do you have?
No, it's 5.4 seconds left. Do I get
the Lakers have the ball.
Can I just watch this?
Sure, but the Lakers are about to shoot free throws. Apologies, everybody that's watching it on the delay that John just spoiled it, or we just spoiled it, I should say.
I don't know what you were talking about with free throws.
Didn't they just tie it up? Oh, it's a jump ball. My bad. Okay, say nothing.
I'm not saying anything. I'm just asking you for a ruling if I could watch this live.
You can watch this live. I will give play. So we're watching the Laker game. The Lakers.
All right, get Robert Superchat up here. Get Robert Superchat up here.
The Lakers are up 104 to 101.
There's a break in the action.
Okay.
Robert Cross, it's your boy John. I'm going to say it once. The single most important thing the Knicks need to do this offseason is moving Randle, period. Hashtag 53 wins. Robert, it feels like an overreaction. I'd love to call you out for an overreaction. I've called you out for an overreaction many a times. I can't in good conscience sit here and call you out for an overreaction right now. Do I necessarily agree with every word of what you just said? We could pick it apart for an hour. But what I cannot do, I cannot call you out for an overreaction. Dylan, Julius plus stuff for PG-13. Oh, now we're getting into it. Now we have arrived. Julius is a losing player, and if Tibbs won't hold him accountable, again, we're going back to the accountability stuff with Tibbs. He won't. He needs to be gone. Injury prone is and better than a losing player. Yeah, I again, you lost me with. We're going back to that tonight. It's their guy. It's the organization has invested in. The organization had a chance to trade this player last season, or fire the coach for that matter, and they did neither. So, thanks, Dylan.
Did he call Julius Randle? Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Injury prone over losing player. Well, I mean, would you rather a guy that's not going to show up for the playoffs or a guy that's not going to show up for the playoffs?
That's a good way of putting it. It's the line of the night. I would do Julius plus stuff for PG-13, depending on what the stuff is, just for the record. Ed Paolo, what's going on, Ed? What's maddening is that Julius is uber talented, but my goodness, he was such a momentum killer tonight multiple times. You saw the full Julius Randle experience tonight. Top to bottom. Yes. Well said. Anthony Sixto, what's going on, Anthony? Tibbs earned himself 2 more years. I don't know about that. Julius' criticism is fair, but doesn't Tibbs deserve heat when most of the team seems mentally, emotionally unprepared? That's the playoffs. That's the playoffs. Find me a coach that can get a young team ready for the second round of the playoffs in their first go round and have every player top to bottom, mentally, emotionally, physically ready to the point where there's no drop off from the regular season play. And I will give you a coach that is worth approximately $30 million a year. Doesn't exist. G.O. Well played. We played well enough to win. Miami role players hit timely shots. Our guys didn't. Yeah. Could never come through with the big basket or the big stop, as it were, in the third quarter. We should be careful indicting Julius before we have a roster with adequate shooting. There's upside to be had. There is upside to be had. No one's arguing about Julius's upside. I'm certainly not arguing about Julius's upside. I think we are at the point, though, of wondering, at least wondering, can you feel okay as a franchise with this player as one of your tentpole, reliable, this is one of our guys? That's the question. Buzzer beater. And Andrew, I'm going to read this, and then I have a question for Andrew. Watching the series, I see why you drink. Yeah. Okay, Andrew.
What's up?
Am I allowed to say what just happened in the game?
No. 1.7 seconds left for me. Lakers are inbounding. 104 to 101. And Austin Reeves dribbles out the clock. Lakers are up 3-1 in the series.
Can I just say...
What?
I understand the Lakers on balance are probably a better team than the Heat. They have the greatest or second greatest player of all time. Anthony Davis is pretty freaking good. Austin Reeves is going to get himself so many millions of dollars this summer. And they're well put together. Also true of Miami, by the way. And Miami has a pretty good top two in their own right. Whatever. Neither here nor there. It is very nice that the Knicks are not the only team in the second round of the playoffs that is down 3-1, and that the other team that is down 3-1 in the playoffs is the defending NBA champions. Can I just say that?
Yep.
Done.
You said it.
Said. You want to stay up here for the rest?
Sure.
Okay. Bernard Richardson, shout out to the KFS postgame community for helping level things out. It's what we are here to do, Bernard. It is why 5 years ago, 5.5 years ago, whatever it was, whenever I started doing these, it's why I started. Because I needed to, I don't know. I felt like this wasn't there. And so I was dumb enough to think that I could maybe provide it. And now I have a whole team of people who outshine me in every way, but we all try to do the same thing. And I'm glad you appreciate it and are here for the ride. Oh wait, hold on. Was there something? There was something more there.
I thought he was.
Oh, maybe I. It was nothing else.
I'll go back if there isn't. Oh no,
Okay.
he did. You're good.
Yeah. Love to all. Got to stay positive. Not over yet. # Nixon 7. Let's get that trending. Nixon 7.
It was trending earlier tonight.
Was it really?
Yes, it was.
Emil Wilmotser. What's going on, Emil? This is not a talent series. No, it's not. This is an understanding the moment series. Yes, it is. Understanding what needed to win at this level. This is not as simple as fire tips. I suffice it to say, no, it is not. It's growing pains, stings in the moment, but will make us a better team. I hope so. Sean Kearns with another one. Thank you, Sean. This playoffs is gravy. Yes. Remember, 21, 17, 29, 31 win seasons. I remember them all very well. Let's give this front office their flowers. Maybe the head coach some flowers too.
No.
The experience. What?
No. Just
No,
the front office.
Just the front office. The experience will be valuable to this young core. # New York forever.
I dig it.
Red Sarachek, flip the script. Be tenacious. Take it back to whatever they call that spray tan bed of an arena. Win 5, and we win the series. This team under-promises and over-delivers when we least expect it. 7th Avenue, J-Mac. I know. Close down 7th Avenue, right?
Why not?
I don't. Let me just admit. I said at halftime, I think the series is over.
Oh, so that's why not.
I will say, after the second half we just saw, I want to, I am not going into game 5 with the mentality of, if we lose 1-2-3 Cancun, and if we win 1-2-3 Cancun, but just later, I want to see how they come out in game 5.
I would like them to win on Wednesday for multiple reasons. One, because I'd like them to get to 53 wins. And another that I will not say. That I might say Wednesday.
Thank you for not saying it.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Red. Robert Cross, what's going on again, Robert? It's your boy, John. The Tibbs-Randle relationship further compounds the issue. I think this is just such old hat in terms of focusing on that relationship. Again, you wanted Tibbs to bench Randle tonight? I suppose.
I did.
Yeah,
I mean, not benched, but it was yeah. I thought if your effort's not there, you are allowed to try Josh Hart at the 4. I'm busy on the go small.
No, and that's
doesn't mean it would have worked. I was just try it and see what happens.
And that's why I agree. I think it was fair. I think it's a fair comment. I think it's a fair criticism. I just think if that's where you're at, is that is an organizational thing where this is the player that you have invested in as an organization, whatever. We don't have to go any more further than that. And I feel Tibbs has been a good coach for the franchise. Randle has to go. # 53 wins. Yeah. No. Fern Rodriguez. I know you don't want to talk offseason, but I'll say this. I'm glad we won't have to deal with Ainge this time. Watch this come back to haunt me. Who would they have to deal with Ainge for? I don't think they're trading Laurie Marketing. Kessler's a good young player.
Colin Sexton finally making his way to New York.
Please, God, no.
That
would be a dream come true for you. Robert Cross. Maybe
the episode titles. Yes, absolutely.
Maybe they want it more. I don't know. Yes, that is a quote from Julius Randle, Robert. I just hope the door doesn't hit him on the A on the way out. Hashtag 53 wins. It's not great.
It's not. I feel like I have to now come all the way back at the end and remind everybody they're not playing this series without Julius Randle. They're not the 5 seed without Julius Randle. They don't win game 2. This would have been a sweep without Julius Randle. Now, granted, like they're probably not down 3-1.
Well, hold on. We could go down all kinds of rabbit holes with that.
Yeah.
One.
Maybe I shouldn't mention anything performance-wise, but like you do have to look at the bigger picture with this. And if we're going to, bend over backwards to try to provide context for the season and what it was, I agree. Randle has been disappointing in the postseason. It was my most frustrating thing watching him the last 2 games, hoping that this was like that game 2 was the start of something, right? Like, this is playoff Julius. Like he's going to help us beat the Heat and then etch his name in stone. And that didn't happen. At the same time, you have to look at the regular season contributions for what they are, appreciate them. And then a different conversation, which is why I'm open to it, is what you said about Paul George. It's like, okay,
Andrew,
we need a different kind of star that actually has playoff success.
It's no different than the Tibbs conversation. There are people out there who I could sit here and we could go back and forth about how much he deserves the blame or doesn't deserve the blame. There are people out there who feel that a team with Thibodeau as a head coach is never going to win a championship. Fine. My response would then be, okay, then what are you going to replace him with? And don't give me the Johnny Bryant because whatever, we don't have to get into that right now. But like, what's the definitive upgrade? That you're going to replace him with? It's the same conversation with Randle. Like, what are you going to replace him with?
A little different. I actually don't think it's the same conversation because I don't have an example of Randle leading a team to a playoff series win. I have Tibbs in the conference finals. I have Tibbs, the assistant coach, teaming up with Kevin Garnett to really stop Kobe over a 7-game, best of 6 series. I have playoff experience.
Yes, but
with Tibbs.
The point is, you're not trading Randle. We're not doing this tonight. You're not trading Randle for spare parts. You're not trading Randle to just get Randle off the team. You are if they are moving Randle at some point this summer, it is for something monumentally significant.
My hope going into the postseason was that Randle would have a great postseason. You win a round, you lose to the Bucks, and then we reassess. And then if the front office decides Joel Embiid's available, they'll do a Julius Randle trade. Then you know what, Julius? Thank you for the memories. Now, because of the feelings that are going to be felt by the fan base, and that's what they are. Like it's all frustrations. It's all feelings, but it's why, like, the front office, I don't know if they're even going to consider the feelings. Shout out CAA.
They're not
for having. Let me finish. This is for having a lot to do with what's going to happen this offseason. I think they will consider the Julius regular season and realize they went as far as they could with this if an upgrade is available.
It's a tough conversation because there are a lot of factors at play, including those 3 letters that you just mentioned, CAA.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry for anybody
there's 2 more letters, KU, or UK. What? Which way does Kentucky do it? Kansas is KU.
No,
UK is Kentucky.
It's CAA. There's only 3 letters that matter. It's CAA. And
one's under the umbrella. You're right.
And if anybody hears that, be like, oh, nonsense. The ties that bind are strong in this organization. And that's the part that I think I'll believe when I see. That said, I'm not ruling anything out. Kevin Danishevsky with another one. Thank you again, Kevin. You know your value to these post games. Tibbs sucks. Fire him. Just kidding. But I get annoyed because I love nothing more than Angry John. Well, it happens. Hashtag Oh John. We'll say more in a DM before you depart the multiverse. But thank you for everything this season. The season's not over yet, Kevin. Come on.
Glad one of us likes it. By the way, Kevin.
Todd Rahuluk, who got it started off tonight. Don't let our doom and gloom get you down, J-Mac. I don't think it has me down. There's a ton to be excited about for the future, and we should be happy and proud. I am. Most fun team since 99. More fun team since 99. The difference is that 99 made it to the finals. Todd with another one. Never forget chanting Jimmer because we were down 30. Listen, one thing you don't ever have to tell me, you don't ever have to give me perspective on where we've come from and where we are. I appreciate a lot of this for many reasons, but just getting to root for a good basketball team and not be embarrassed is really nice. That's it. All right. We did it. Okay. Well, thank you, everybody, for, what?
One more.
I'm not saying my goodbyes yet because there's another game to be played. But the main connects. Would you be down for a cat trade if Julius and Mitch go out? My goodness. Well, that's the part of the problem is you're not trading Mitchell Robinson to the Minnesota Timberwolves. You have to send him to a third team.
You want a playoff performer, and we're trading for Karl-Anthony Towns?
I don't want Karl-Anthony Towns on my team.
Like, what are we, guys?
You want to talk about a series that Karl-Anthony Towns would want no part of?
Against Jimmy Butler? Are you kidding? Like, I understand upgrading. I understand he was horrible. Well, I understand he was frustrating tonight. 20 points and 13 shots isn't bad.
Hold on.
What?
Here's what else. This is how we bring it all the way back around. I'd rather have Julius Randle than Karl-Anthony Towns. There you go. I agree. It. Call me crazy. That's how little I think of Karl-Anthony Towns. In terms of, again, in the specific context of you are trying to win a championship. Not a bunch of regular season games. Championship. Give me Randle. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Remember, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for all sorts of special announcements. Another one from Dominic. Okay, John, let's do KP then. I'd rather KP may be a different story. I maybe favor KP over Julius Randle in all of his KP-ness.
I don't, and he also falls under the Paul George category of will he show up or be available for a postseason.
He also falls under the category of what position you play in this guy,
which is why I think Mitch is the person you're upgrading to his position to KP is the conversation.
Perhaps. How about no to Kristaps Porzingis? ML Nair. Hey John, I'm also still on Quickly and Grimes. Good. His skills are there, but it's hard to go to battle with Randle. Poor decisions and lack of focus is a killer. Yeah. Glad you're on board still with Quickly and Grimes, though. Thanks for the chiming in there, ML. If you're listening, as we continue to finish up the wrap up, please leave a 5-star rating and a review. Let's freaking go Knicks. You will next hear from someone with Knicks Film School before Game 5. And you will next hear from me after Game 5.
Yes. Load management day for Macri tomorrow. But there will be a pregame show with someone who is an expert on the Knicks. So bring in the pregame pod back for a day. And then for those of you that checked out on the YouTube channel, the film session by Benji Ritholtz that we dropped last week. Playback has a new screen share feature that we're going to start utilizing. I'm really excited about that for not just the rest of the playoffs, however long that is, but during the off season, during the postseason, during next season, I should say. So Benji's going to do another film session tomorrow. So if you want to join it live, it's going to be for all patrons. I will email in the morning what time that will be, and then it will be on the channel the next day at a certain point. So that's a brand new Knicks film session. It's literally Benji turning into a professor and teaching a film class. But yeah, that's coming your way in the not too distant future.
Enjoy it before he gets scooped up by an NBA team. I don't know if he wants that, but it's gonna happen at some point if he wants it. All right. Thanks everybody. We will talk to you soon. Sorry, tonight sucked. Peace out.